State. It's Ohio State. What do you mean, the? 312-988-15.
Hello?
You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. Yeah, that's right. Ooh, baby, we got ourselves a big week in Notre Dame land. Oh, we got ourselves a big week in Notre Dame land. And it's bigger than it should be. But there's nobody to blame but Notre Dame for that. And I'm sick of hearing about that narrative already. So we're going to get into that. We're going to cover a bunch of different stuff here. This is a weird week, a weird vibe. Nobody knows what to make of this team. Nobody knows what you're going to get. You're backed into the corner fighting for your playoff life. You got a home game against a team that seems to have your number and or not only your number. Oh, I think Johnny's worked up today. Not only does it feel like Louisville has Notre Dame's number, it feels like Louisville has the number of any quarterback Notre Dame gets. Hardman's numbers against Louisville. Leonard's numbers against Louisville. Double. I don't like it. I don't like the way it sets up. But you know what? You have no choice but to go win this football game. You cannot have your playoff dreams end before in This is going to be a day. This is going to be a day. It is 9:02 and I'm raring to go. But there's a lot of this stuff I have no patience for. We're finding ourselves in a position I have no patience for. And the calendar hasn't even turned into October. That's my problem. That's why I'm worked up. That's why I'm worked up. Okay, you're in a position, Mikey Poles. John, you haven't been this worked up in a while. Hey, I'm trying to preserve my strokes and space them out, okay? So I could do this longer. I'm just telling you, Notre Dame's backed into a corner this week of their own doing, and I'm really, really frustrated by that. Do you guys understand what I mean? Callers, we're going to get to you. We got a few of them here. Got to respect Brom, absolutely 100%. I think of Brom the way I think of Whittingham at Utah. Not a brand name helmet, doesn't get top flight, a top 10 recruiting class, but the team's going to play better than it looks like they all should. I think of him the way I respect the guy at Utah. Not a brand name helmet or whatever, doesn't get top end talent, but always gets a better output than it looks like you should get with your group. And I respect the hell out of it, 100%. But I'm sick of this narrative. I've been hearing this narrative. I've been reading this narrative about, this pressure on Notre Dame. And look at this. You could feel that everybody's tight. You could feel that Freeman's a little tight, feeling the pressure, whatever. And it's like, look at all this pressure on Notre Dame now, week to week to week. How are you going to navigate it or whatever? I don't feel bad for Notre Dame at all. The only reason you have this level and this amount of pressure on you week to week is because you showed at home against Northern. That it's your fault, and it's up to you to win out to deal with it. So it's not... I'm sick of the feeling of like, oh my gosh, look at this pressure that's just like floated on Notre Dame and landed on them out of the pressure fairy just dropped pressure on Notre Dame's head. And now their backs are against the wall and it's really stressful to play in that environment. Yeah, you allowed that and you did that because showed against Northern. That was your fault. So now what you get is fighting for your playoff life with no breathing room every single week. Spare me this 10-2 Notre Dame's making the playoff all the time. I don't believe it. Not this 10-2. Not this 10-2. You can't have 10-2 with one of them being Northern. I don't think that Notre Dame team makes the playoff. And if you do, you're going to play somewhere horrible to start. So you did this to yourself, and it is on you to just keep winning. So here's what's at stake. Let's lay this out. Let's lay this all out. I want to be crystal clear. Let's lay it out. Callers, hang in there. I'm coming to you. I promise. Here's the way I see this. You have home field advantage. Are you sure? Like that's the other narrative, you guys. I've been hearing people say, oh, well, at least it's at home this time against Louisville. Is that going to help? It was at home against Northern. That didn't help. A flying hoot nanny. That didn't help. And you were home last week, and it took you a quarter and a half to wake up when John was scaling off the back of the stadium. I'm telling you what, whoever this DJ is, we need to have a sit down. We need to have an intervention. Whoever's pushing the buttons in charge of that music coming out of that Jumbotron, rattling the entire Northwest Indiana, it's on the Richter scale. When they fire it up, I need to have a stern conversation with whoever this DJ is. I don't understand. Got the girl yelling at me the whole time between quarter. You get on your feet. Oh, geez, just stop. She's yelling. And then I get that stupid Six Flags every 2 seconds. Who wants to hear that? No one. There's no one alive that thinks that song is good. No one wants to hear it. Nobody's dancing to it. Nobody's moving to it. Nobody wants to hear that garbage. Why did they play it 7 hours in a row? Why? I can't handle it. She's yelling between everything. Get on your feet. Listen, we can't score or move the ball or whatever, but get on your feet. No. That stupid Six Flags song. It's like polka techno. No one would ever in a million years go to YouTube and go, you know what song I want to hear right now? That song. I'm typing it in. Is what I'm typing in. No one ever in a million years would do that, but they played that song 58 times. I can't understand. We need to have an intervention. We need to have an intervention. You know what else I didn't appreciate either coming out of the Jumbo? Why did you have a P. Diddy song package? Is no one paying attention? They did a little. I know I'm not crazy, and I know my old school hip hop. How in the world do you run a P. Diddy song package where you're playing 3 of his songs wrapped together? How are you doing that? Is no one paying attention to the news? Early in the game, I know I'm not dreaming. They did a P. Diddy package. Money Ain't a Thing, did all this stuff. It just surprised me that no one said, maybe we should pull that one. It was Money Ain't a Thing. They did a couple of those songs and mashed them together, and it was like the P. Diddy catalog. Nobody at Notre Dame looks at the news. You might want to pull that one out of the rotation. Anyway, I'm sorry. This got off the track, but I have my frustrations. Whoever, I'm just telling you. Eric, you're the man. Thanks for being here, buddy. Take care. Whoever decides that music, we need to really have a talking to. Some of it's okay, and I can see it pumping up the guys or whatever and all this stuff. But some of this stuff I just can't handle. And that Six Flags techno polka thing it's the worst song I've ever heard. It's not catchy. It's annoying. No one's even like dancing to it. I can't understand how they play it 80 times. But it's really awful. Anyways, here's what's on the line, you guys. Kent Jackson, he always puts, well, it's the Big Show. And it's just funny because the Big Show, so I just think of like literally the Big Show, who's 8 of me. Oh, Paul White there, just really athletic and nimble for a big man too. But it's just funny that Kent says the Big Show and it's me and I'm all small. Anyways. Yeah, Andrew Gilmore, that song's 30 years. I'm telling you, man, it's really, really brutal. And that P. Diddy package, I think I was the only one who noticed it, though. And I'm looking at my brother like, am I really hearing it? Wow. Like, nobody looked up the news, apparently. And it was early in the game, and it was a P. Diddy pack. It surprised me. Anyways, and that girl yelling the whole game. Every commercial, that girl yelling, and in the third row, we have this guy doing this. Just leave me alone. Notre Dame can't move the ball. You're losing 3-0 at home to Miami, Ohio. I'm listening to the Six Flags commercial, and I got this lady yelling stuff. Life's already hard enough, you guys, when you're a Notre Dame fan. I don't need these added challenges at the game. Son of a buck. Here's what we're dealing with now. You're either going to rise up, put this team all together, put it together for a week, show up ready to play a football game at your home stadium in front of your own people and be serious about what you're doing from the time that ball gets kicked off the first time. And you're going to get serious about it. Play your good defense, allowing under 10 points a game. And this offense, I hate to tell you guys this. This is going to be potentially devastating news for Notre Dame. You're going to have to run the ball and pass the ball to win this football game. You're not going to be able to willy-nilly, halfway be able to do just enough on one side or the other and be able to win it. But I think against this team who's well coached, a high-quality opponent like this with an athletic defense, you're going to have to be decent at both. You don't have to be elite at both to win, to beat Louisville. You got to be decent at both this time. You're going to have to be able to run the ball and pass the ball. Is there anybody here in the crowd that feels confident in Notre Dame's ability to run the ball and pass the ball? I don't know what we're going to get, folks. So you're in a position now because of what you did against Northern, where you either rise up, do what you got to do to get this win, get into the bye. If you could get into the bye with that one bad loss, take a breather at the bye, take a deep breath, have a couple weeks to get healthier, figure out more of this offense and what you could do and not do and how to make it work when you're on that bye week and you have a half a month figured out between games. Rest up. That is the best case scenario. Then you're running into Stanford and Georgia Tech and Navy and then a bad Florida State team. You feel like you're actually in a position to make a playoff run, barreling towards that matchup at the Coliseum with USC to end it all. That's on the high end. On the low end, you lose this game at home and you've lost 2 games in home in September and you're out of the playoff before you even get to October. Now you're in Now you're in territory. That can happen. It absolutely cannot happen. And it's going to be really, really rough if it does. It can't happen. You cannot be in the position. You cannot be in the position to be out of the playoff hunt again, before the calendar turns to October. You can't do it. I'm sorry. You just cannot do it. You can't have it. It's unacceptable. You can't do it. That's what's on the line, you guys. So Notre Dame's fighting for their playoff lives. You cannot have this another second loss in September. You cannot have that kind of loss at home in September. You can't do any of it. You can't do any of it. And so Notre Dame has allowed itself to be in this precarious position, and their lives are just dangling in front of them, and it's a stressful way to live. And Marcus Freeman stressed out, and I could see it. Like, I could feel it. I could see it. Everybody's stressed out. This is just, this is the position Notre Dame's allowed itself to be placed in. You did this. It didn't happen to you. You did this. You allowed yourself to have to navigate this pressure and all of this. Now you got to go find a way to win the ball game. And there's a lot of people that do feel like Notre Dame turned a corner in this last game. You feel like you feel like Riley Leonard got more comfortable passing the ball a little bit. There was some more downfield action. You know, you caught a couple flags down there. You caught you had a 38-yard touchdown pass, like all this stuff, man. Like, so there is some There is some hope with that, I guess, but it's nothing I can rely on. It's nothing I can count on. Johnny pumping the Notre Dame hopium. I have no idea. I just spent the last 15 minutes yelling about Notre Dame. I have no idea, saying that we are backed into a corner. I have no idea how that's hopium. You guys literally, sometimes I think you guys hear what you want to hear. I don't know how that's hopium. I just yelled for the last 15 minutes about how uncomfortable I am with the position we're in. I don't know how that's hopium. I really don't. It's wild to me. Here's the other thing. Somebody said, if Notre Dame loses this game, then it's developmental mode time, meaning you're going to get one of the younger guys in. You're going to get one of the younger guys in. Sean, what is the headed to South Bend now? And what is somebody tell me the pizza place that I said I love and I can never remember the name, and it starts with the G. It ain't Gribaldi's. That's in Florida by my brothers. What is it? The G name, the pizza. Phil, what is it? Remind me that name. That's where he should go. Eat some pizza, get a pitcher of beer. Phil, write it in. I forget the name, but it's a G name, and that's where I'm going to recommend. It's Barnaby's. It's not even a G. It's Barnaby's. It's not even a G. I'm not even close. Go to Barnaby's, get yourself a pizza and a pitcher of beer. Really cheap, really affordable, cool ambiance. Right, 5 minutes from the stadium, whatever. Do that. That's what I would do. And that's what we did with the family when we were in town, and it was good. It was good. Anyways, I'm going to go to the calls, but people are saying, yeah, pizza's so great, I can't remember the name. It is my favorite place. That name doesn't stick in my head for some reason. Yeah, Gabarnaby's. Jabarnaby's. It is a bad promo when you're like, man, I love this place. Yeah, well, what's the name of it? I don't know, but it's really good, I promise. I've had a busy last handful of days. Give me a break, man, all right? Here's the other thing. People are saying that if Notre Dame were to lose this game, and then you're essentially out of the playoff hunt before October, that then this turns into developmental mode. Okay. This is another narrative. If you lose this one, Grimaldi's is okay, Domer. So I'm not making that up. It's Grimaldi's or Gribaldi or something down in Florida, and it's good pizza. I don't know. That's in my mind. Talking about this developmental stuff. And if you can't, if you don't get this game, then you do the developmental thing because you're out of the hunt. You play the young guys. You give a couple of those young quarterbacks a chance to see what they could do, and you get this development stuff going. Are we sure that's what would happen? Connor, what's going on? Are we sure that's what would happen? Let me ask that. And then I'm going to the calls, I promise. But I got to ask. Is that how this would go? Think about it. There's two ways to see this. One is we're all frustrated. You're out of Joshua. I've been to Nick's patio before too. Usually late night, we go to Nick's. Do you say, okay, now that we're out of our major goals, now you gotta go with the younger guys and develop all the, whatever, get it going, blah, 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 blah. That's what the fan base is going to want, because then at least you feel like there's the potential for progress down the road and there's development happening that you could see. I'm not sure Freeman would do that. The other side of that coin, that's the fans saying that. What if Freeman thinks, I'm feeling all this heat and all this pressure, and I've got to win as many games as I can now to keep the Flames down on my seat? He could get up there, even if you have 2 losses before October at home. Freeman could get up there and say, Riley Leonard's our quarterback. He still gives us the best chance to win a bunch of games. And this isn't like Major League Baseball or something where you could tank a year and it doesn't affect the players you're going to get next. In fact, tanking in baseball actually helps you get better players. You can't do that in college football. You can't do that in college football. So there's no easy way out. What if he says, Riley still gives us the best chance to win a bunch of these games? then you have no development for the rest of the year with the quarterback and the receivers or whatever, and you're not going to the playoff, and then you're going to feel like you're wasting a lot of snaps. You're going to feel like you're wasting a lot of snaps. So there's a lot on the line for Notre Dame this week. I just can't. I don't know, man. Ronald McDonald says, John, at this point, who cares we lost to NIU? I am not disappointed. I knew this would happen. Bro, I care that we lost to NIU because it is clouding everything else about the year. The team's got to move on from it. I don't. It was the one that you couldn't have. It was the one that it couldn't be, and it's affecting everything else you're doing. It's affecting everything else you're doing. It was the one it couldn't be, man. I don't know what to tell you. $20 holler from Eric. Leonard found his groove this second half of the Miami game. My gut says Leonard and ND have their best game against Louisville and win comfortably. ND 31, Louisville 10. Man, that would be a terrific score. That would change a lot of the perception, I think, around what's going on here. So I don't know. And I still don't understand why everybody's talking about Freeman crying. But when he was yelling, I went back and looked. He's just sweating or I don't even know. But a lot of people are still talking about that. I don't know. All right. Let's see what a couple of the callers are. Thanks for the donation, Eric. You're my lawyer in Michigan there. And yeah, the White Sox held off the all-time loss record yesterday. Did you see the fans? I've never seen anything like it, you guys. Sox fans are filling up the stadium now to see them break the all-time loss record, and we want it to be as bad as possible to embarrass ownership as much as possible. So now everybody is rooting for the losses. It's so embarrassing. You're this close to setting the record. Everybody wants it to be the worst of all time for the embarrassment. And the Sox fans were booing when we actually won the game and took the lead yesterday because you want it to be the worst that it could be to embarrass the ownership fully. It's really a bad place to be, man. My sports teams are in a rough spot. How about this guy? It's Dr. John. Let's see what's going on. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, John. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm in a vehicle on my way to play what is probably the least expensive Jack Nicklaus course in the world.
Oh, beautiful.
At Anaconda, Montana. I got 3 other geezers in this vehicle. I'm not driving, though.
That sounds fantastic. And Jack Nicklaus is always Irish Senior's favorite golfer of all time, maybe favorite athlete of all time. We love Jack Nicklaus in our household. Dr. John, I got to tell you, really had a good time meeting all of your family, and the daughters were there, and we had a wonderful weekend with you and the family. It was beautiful.
Oh, God, we enjoyed it so much, John. I wish we could have hung around a little bit longer, but yeah, it was a blast. And I got to get you. I'm going to send you a link to those lyrics. I want you to have a copy of those lyrics too.
And you know what? I still need to go through all of my footage. I'm behind in content here and on Sports Illustrated and everything from the weekend. I'm trying to get caught up. I'll make sure I package that video for you. I want to get that over to you on email. I'll send you a link so you guys have that too.
All right. Okay. Regarding the game, my biggest problem was at the end of the game, you got a coaching staff. You got to be thinking, what do we need to make the playoffs? For God's sakes, you got to have a killer instinct. I wanted them to score another touchdown, cover the spread, look like you mean it. That really got me. I know Freeman's a nice guy and all, but you can't be a nice guy in that situation. Let Angeli throw for a touchdown, for crying out loud.
Yeah. Dr. John, let me ask you this. I got to say, I want to ask your opinion of this. I thought Notre Dame's crowd was into that game in the beginning. I was surprised the buzz there was. People were chanting, here come the Irish and all that. Everybody seemed excited, ready to support the team. And they just kind of came out flat, and it took the air out of the balloon in the stadium. Was that your experience too? I felt like everybody was excited, and then the game started.
Yeah. Well, then the balloon popped.
Yeah.
It was like a balloon popped.
Yeah.
Another thing I cannot believe that Riley Leonard did not hear the boos. I don't care what he said. That's BS.
Yeah.
You got to hear that stuff.
Yeah.
And then regarding Riley Leonard, we're 108 in passing. I mean, you're not going to compete for a national championship if that's the kind of passing attack you've got.
Yeah. And now, did you feel like you saw some improvement in that area? Like, I know Goolsby and Clark broke down the film on Patreon and did every play on offense. They think they're starting to see Riley Leonard be more comfortable in the offense, taking a little bit more time to make his reads and scan the field for open guys, more willing to take a shot down the field a little bit. Do you feel like you saw some of that progress later on in the game? Because there are a lot of people that do feel that they saw that. I don't know if it's enough to make anybody feel any comfort or not.
Well, we better see something Saturday in that respect, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, every game is going to be a playoff game, as somebody said earlier I guess you did. It is. It's going to be a playoff game every freaking week.
Yep. Yeah, it is. And if you could scrape this one out at home any which way and get into that bye and have a little breather, and you have a runway there on the back half of this schedule against some teams you should be in a position to take care of. This is a big one for Marcus, though. You cannot have 2 losses at home before the calendar turns to October in your 3rd year. You cannot do it, man. That is a screaming red flag. You just can't have it, and you put yourself backed up in a bad position.
I mean, we've got to see more games like Purdue, although I guess Purdue is pretty bad, but they've got to start pulverizing some of these low-level teams. They just do, or the committee is going to take all of this into account, I think. And if you keep underperforming against these lousy teams, you're not going to get in the playoffs. So.
Yeah, we're in a really tough spot right now, and so we got to see how the team's going to respond. Dr. John, you've seen a lot of Notre Dame football, a lot of decades of Notre Dame football, good, bad, and in the middle. I'm going to ask you this. Maybe you have an answer, maybe you don't. What do you think causes some of these Notre Dame teams that aren't ready to play at home in front of your home crowd? Is it just the sleepy day game in Indiana they can't get up for unless it's a huge opponent? What do you think causes Notre Dame to get in that mode where they don't appear ready to play right when the game starts at home? It'll drive you nuts.
You know what? If I knew the answer to that, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. I'd be on the staff there.
I'm telling you, but it's enough to drive you crazy, Doc. You're like, we're capable. We're capable of playing so much better. We've seen ourselves play better. The athletes are better than what we do. They're just not locked in to start the game, and it drives you nuts.
Has anybody checked the water there lately?
I don't know, but I figure you thought maybe I was flipping off the back of that stadium early on, like I was threatening. I almost had to up there, man.
Hey, I got one more comment, then I got to turn you loose. But you were talking about the DJ and Janelle, or what his name, screaming. Let me ask you this question. How many blind people do you think were at the game?
I don't know. Where are you going with this one?
Why is the PA announcer doing play-by-play?
Yeah.
Tell me who caught the ball, because I don't have a program.
Yeah.
Tell me who threw the ball. The rest of it I can see. You don't have to tell me all that stuff.
Yeah. Listen,
we need Kurt Gowdy. Very plain, very simple. That's it.
Some of the stuff they've done to add ambiance and energy in the stadium, I'm totally fine with. Some of it's a bit too much and over the top, but everybody has their own taste. But the lady yelling the whole time and that Six Flags polka song, I can't handle.
Yeah. All right, partner. Have a great show. We're going to play a little game today at the Old Works in Anaconda. And I'm playing with a bunch of sandbaggers, so I'm sure I'm going to lose money.
There you go. Yeah, there's always an angle. There's always an angle. Hold them honest. Hold them true, and make sure they're being honest with their scores there, Doc. I love to hear that you're playing some golf today, and Jack Nicklaus is involved. And again, I already knew you were a good guy, but meeting all the daughters and everything, you guys are a wonderful family, and we had a great weekend with you guys. Thanks for making the trip.
Well, thank you, and thank your family for the hospitality. We had a blast both Friday and Saturday. So
yep, it was a fun group. And Doc, shoot a good score today, will you?
All right, I'll be in chat hopefully for a little time on Friday. Although I may try to sneak out and play some more golf, winter's coming.
Good for you. Good. God bless you. Play as much golf as you need to, man. Have a good one and hit them straight, brother. Dr. John and his daughter, literally, his daughters, 3 of them, they literally put together a performance, a song, and had microphones and speakers and got up on Adam Dowling's pickup truck and did a performance with a song about my show in front of like 200 people, and it was awesome. And they were singing and they were dancing, and it was awesome. I'm just telling you, when we do a party, we do it right. $5 hour for the V1 rotate. We have a fullback as a QB and a QB sitting on the bench. This so-called elite defense gets pushed around up front. I'm telling you, it feels sometimes like Notre Dame gets pushed around up front more than I want defensively. But then when I look up the stats, they're not as bad as I think. It feels like we get pushed around up front, if that makes sense. G Money says, hey, John, Michigan fan here. Woof! I love your energy and enthusiasm. I wish we had someone like you at Michigan. I watch your show way more than Michigan shows. I have to get my John every morning. That's wild. There's a lot of Michigan content. None of it strikes your fancy. You don't want you don't want to read EJ Holland every day or see what he's making up for his latest story, what he's going to exaggerate for his latest story. What about Scam Web? Paid propagandist by the Ann Arbor media. You got Scam Web there. What about Stevie Boy? What about Stevie over there? You got him on YouTube. You could go watch the Michigan podcast. I know all these people. Oh my gosh. 618. Let's make it great. It's a big week for Notre Dame land. What do you make of it, my friend? Hello. Bro. He fell asleep. Give me a call back. You can't be falling asleep. It's Louisville week. 407. What's going on? Hello.
Hey, John, you can hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Thanks for letting me know something isn't wrong with my my lines here. I was nervous for a second. What's going on, man? In a very, very important week at Notre Dame land. What do you make of it?
Oh, man. Got the bubblies in the stomach, man.
Ooh.
I'll be honest, man.
Already? It's early, isn't it? Wait, isn't it early for that on a Wednesday morning? You already got that going on? Ooh, baby.
No, this is Notre Dame, man. They give you the coffee stomach, dude.
Yeah, that's a
know
fair
what I mean?
point. Yeah.
It's stressful being a Notre Dame fan. But I didn't want to hold you up too long, John. Just wanted to tell you, great show as usual. Yeah, definitely nervous about this game coming up. Especially, it's crazy that I'm more worried about this game than the hurricane that's on the way here in Florida. Maybe it'll knock the power out so I don't have to endure it and just get the final score.
You don't want to do that. You live for that stress, those 4 hours and the riding that wave. So
you ain't lying, man.
I know it's a
I'll
sick.
be there with my jersey on.
Yeah.
Taking the hits.
You're addicted. We're addicted to that ride. The problem is we just very rarely get to experience the high end of it, right? It's just more often dips for us than the high point. So I want to know what you're thinking entering this ball game. Do you see it the way I do with how important this is, and you just can't have a second loss at home before October, or the whole thing is just like ruined? Like, I don't want to be over dramatic. It does feel like it's that big of an inflection point for Notre Dame, and not just Notre Dame and this team. Freeman too. There's a lot of pressure here to deliver.
Absolutely. I think the way that they play and how they hopefully win is going to say a lot. You know what I mean? Because even if we pull one out, that doesn't make me feel confident about, any type of post-season play. You know what I mean? I don't even want to get to that point and just get completely embarrassed and humiliated. And that's why I think a lot of us fans are hoping we see, them be up for this game like they were against Texas A&M, but with even more improvements, maybe actually learn how to pass the ball, like they threw to Bo last week, showing that they can do it.
Do you feel like you did see some progress there? I know a lot of people looking at that film really felt like Riley Leonard was the most comfortable he's been all year in the passing game. It wasn't great by any means, but do you feel like there's hope there and progress there? Or are you like, okay, look who you were playing. I can't count on that to continue against a real defense like Louisville?
No progress at all, unfortunately. I think that he tossed one up and he got lucky because Bo was wide open and the defense didn't expect it.
Ooh.
Because they're that bad, the defenses don't even respect the pass. There's no reason, like against NIU, they should have been able to dump one down the field and just get lucky at least on one. There's nobody respects the pass game. I mean, the fact that we literally watched, and I hate to say this about this kid because I'm really rooting for him, but, I want this team to win like we all do. And he's paid a lot of money. It's changed the dynamic.
Yep.
He's not just a kid in school now. He's getting paid $1.2 million to not be able to throw a 15-yard out route twice.
Listen, do you agree? I genuinely do feel like everybody knowing these guys are getting this money, especially these one-and-done quarterbacks, I believe that fans do now feel more entitled to be negative or to boo and be vocal when they don't feel like they're getting what was paid for. I think that's a newer age thing, and I've been surprised that Notre Dame fans have been booing the quarterback. But the dynamic has changed when there's big time money involved, and you come here on a mercenary one and done. There are expectations.
Absolutely. I mean, look. Back in the day, and this team I fell in love with because my grandfather, rest in peace. My grandfather would call this team a bum back then when people did dumb stuff and played like trash, and they didn't get paid. But my grandfather would be losing his mind watching this kid get paid and not even be able to complete passes. He's literally a running back. We're running Wildcat. I can't believe what I'm watching. And if I'm Jay Love, who you're getting half of his carries, you could be pulling away from his stats to make a Heisman run. Some will say that's a little bit crazy, but this kid's explosive. You know what I mean? He touches the ball, and there's a strong probability that it's a coin flip. He could take it to the house every time.
Okay, now just imagine. Imagine what that could be if you added a offensive line that was actually put together. Look at what it already is with just him being dynamic. Imagine if you had proper blocking, and imagine if you had the threat of a passing game that a defense had to honor, which opens up the run game even more. He's doing all this stuff basically on his own. He's finding an inch of a crease and doing stuff on his own.
Yep, exactly. To spread them out like that to even get better runs and kicks like that from the backfield. But I mean, then Brock's trying to frame it, saying that, we do that to open up those run possibilities, and Riley has to make a decision. That's cool, but I mean, literally at this point, you've got an explosive back, feed him the ball, and you got to have someone that can pass. I'm trying to wrap my head around, I know this is going around a lot of the fan base and the chat and everything. I'm trying to wrap my head around why we can't put Angeli in on third downs, especially on third and longs. We know for a fact that Riley cannot complete a pass. Like, you're not fooling anybody. He's not getting into his rhythm or getting into his own and getting comfortable. He can't complete a pass consistently. That's not why he's here. Put Angeli in on third and long. You want to run Riley on a wildcat at the goal line? I'm all for it. He's most effective at the goal line, apparently. So put him in at the goal line on goal line runs. You know what I mean? But put Angeli in on second and long, third and long passing. Angeli can run too. So you still have the threat of him taking off. He's proved it. It just perplexes me. I mean, I'm not a coach, but I'm also not getting paid multi-millions of dollars. I mean, these coordinators.
So let me ask this:
getting paid the top? Isn't he the top OC in the country right now?
Yeah, 2-point-something million. Let me ask this.
Yeah, I mean,
do you not feel like if you did that double quarterback thing or whatever, that it would turn into a thing where you're like, oh, okay, Angeli's in. Now we know he's going to pass because it's third and long. Like you wouldn't want to get too predictable to where one means it's an automatic run and then one means that it's, an automatic pass. And does Freeman even want to Does Freeman even want to mess with any of this? And Freeman may genuinely believe that offense is about to turn a corner. And the other thing I want to bring up is there are people saying there was always going to be a delay in Riley Leonard grasping this offense and being comfortable because he missed all that spring. He has to come in here and learn everything off the fly. And then you add in the offensive line problems, and it is going to be a frustrating work in progress. Are you open to hearing that at all, or do you just expect more?
No, and let me unpack that because you did pack that up a little bit, John. But, I mean, look, the kid's a quarterback. You don't need to get comfortable to just throw and make at least a third of your passes. You know what I mean? Like, there's an open person, you throw to him, you get the ball to him. I mean, you don't have to be perfect, but you got to be able to pass somewhat. You know what I mean? I'm wondering if it's a contract thing. Like maybe he's got something in his clause in that NIL where you can't take him out or something. I don't know. I don't know enough about that, but something's funky about it. With Angeli, you mentioned about being predictable. Well, aren't we now? Everybody just stacks the box. Louisville is going to terrorize that line and Leonard. He ain't running anywhere. You know what I mean? They're going to be all over his ass because they've got better athletes. So we're already predictable. When you put Angeli in there, you're actually making it worse on the defense because the defense goes, okay, they're probably going to try to pass with this kid in, but oh shit, he can run too. So if he drops back and doesn't see anything, you've seen him do it in the other game that he came in for a short while. He can take off. Now he can also take a sack, but at this point, I like my chances putting him in on 3rd and long or a long passing play. You know what I mean? I feel like that gives us more dynamic because Angeli has a better completion percentage than Riley Leonard. It's not even close. The kid comes in and dumps a touchdown to the tight end like it's nothing, wide open. You know what I mean? Like, so when you really look at it like that, I think our chances are just on the eye test much better with Angeli coming in. And John, real quick, because I don't want to hold up the other callers, there are a couple things I wanted to just bullet list real quick and get your thoughts on it too. It's blowing my mind, and I'm a Marcus Freeman fan. I love what he does with this recruiting, and I really, again, I'm rooting for him, rooting for this team, rooting for Riley, all that. But when he says pregame, and I know a couple of people brought this up, we got to take what the defense gives us.
Yep.
Are you serious?
Yep.
You serious? We're talking about Miami of Ohio.
Yeah, this ain't Georgia. Yeah, this ain't Georgia. This isn't Georgia's front. This isn't Georgia's front. Right. You do what you want to do, and you make them adjust to whatever you're going to do because you're going to do what you're going to do because you have a better roster, better talent. You're at home. You have better players. You are going to do what you're going to do, and they're not going to be able to stop it, should be the answer and the mentality.
Exactly. And then he follows up with this that blew my mind. $1.2 million you're paying this quarterback. And he says, if it's not a favorable play, and this isn't quoted, this is paraphrased, if it's not a favorable play for the quarterback, don't call the play. Are you serious? Then don't pay him $1.2 million if you can't throw the ball.
I think it's more than that. I think it's actually they're paying him more than that. And then I want to bring something else. Let me go back to the Angeli thing for a second, though. There is a problem with this theory. The problem with the theory is he's significantly less mobile than Riley Leonard is. Behind this line, Angeli would take way more sacks. I think Adam Dowling put that in the chat. He isn't as mobile. And behind this line, he already's taken a lot of sacks, and he's barely been in the game this year. So that's the problem with him. He's a better passer, but he isn't going to be able to scramble and get away from those sacks because that offensive line isn't able to protect. You're just in a bad spot, man. No matter what you do, it feels like.
I think it balances itself out, like I said. Now, Angeli, a lot of the reason he's going to take those sacks is not just for the line and him being comfortable behind that line. Also, I'd like to see him be able to play behind the starters like Riley so we can get a better, idea of what he can do with Bo Collins out there and the starting lineup. He's running behind the backups and still doing it. You know what I'm saying? Man. Let him get the first string receivers and everybody in there with all the backs. You know what I mean? Let him hand it off to Price and Love and get the running game going, spread it out, throw a couple little dump-off passes. They can respect us. Make them have to not stack the box. I think that those factors would balance it out. I think we have to look at that. This kid's playing with backups, and he's still making plays. You know what I mean? Like the ratio is just obvious.
I'm not even sure that he's the best one ultimately of that group between like Minchie and Carr and him. I'm still not even sure. Like, I'm not sold that like I want Angeli to be the starter next year. No, I don't think he has the upside of a Minchie or a Carr.
maybe not the starter next year with the other guys, hopefully not transferring and leaving over this BS. But I definitely think that for this year, he gives us the best of both.
Man.
You know what I mean? He can be just efficient enough to be a book. Get you what you need. You know what I mean?
So, okay,
and he can also take off with his leg.
Before I let you go, I want to ask, what is your confidence level? Notre Dame's going to, this is a bigger moment against team you have to take seriously, whatever. Maybe they learned their lesson. What is your confidence level? Notre Dame's going to be prepared to play this game. And when it starts, Notre Dame plays really solid football. We've had 2 home games so far, and we have not done that either time. What is your confidence level? Notre Dame's prepared to play in this moment.
Well, this is crazy. I have to say my confidence level is actually better than it's been in the last 2 weeks because of the opponents actually a decent caliber. So I think they'll be up for it. Marcus seems to be able to get them up for the big games. We'll have to see. But what really worries me, John, is not even this week. Of course, the way they play, we need to win, and how we win is important. But what really worries me is next week against Stanford, because Stanford just beat Syracuse at their place. And they played good ball. Notre Dame has not played good at home. It's not considered a big game, even though it's a rivalry. It's right after potentially a big win.
I got to get through this one. And then you have a bye. Can a brother relax for a minute?
No doubt. But if you trend the course, John, you're asking me, how I feel about it. It worries me, man. It worries me because the game right after and the way that we play in our track record. And it even worries me further than that because you got FSU there, everybody's clowning. And guess what? Notre Dame loves to give people the season-defining wins.
Yeah,
and FSU would make their whole season beating Notre Dame.
Oh, man, you're just giving me more stuff to worry about. Every sentence you say is something else for me to worry about. Like I don't worry enough.
Stanford. Check this out. I'm more worried about Stanford and Florida State right now, especially DJ getting clowned by everybody, and he lost in our stadium. And you want to talk about revenge? I'm sure he'd like to get that one back,
man,
and define his season that way in that stadium.
Woo.
I'm not even worried about USC, no matter what their record is, because for some reason you can coin flip. It doesn't matter what the records are with Notre Dame and USC. We saw that last year. I'm not even worried about USC. That it is what it is. It'll be what it is. Yeah. I'm more worried about Florida State and Stanford.
Man, I know
people say that's crazy.
I'm just trying to worry about one thing at a time, man. Hey, we circled we did a lot of information on this call, man. Thanks for giving me a call.
Sure, I really appreciate it, John.
No problem. Hey, hit me back Friday if you have any final thoughts. Friday,
sure, I'll be back Friday.
Beautiful.
And everybody, again, it's Down Pat in the chat. Appreciate you. Always Irish. Best show.
Have a good one, Down Pat. I'm glad people let me know what your name is in the chat. That actually makes a lot of sense. I actually appreciate knowing that that's Down Pat. The call-in thing doesn't say your nickname. You know what I'm saying? It gives me your actual name. 205, what's going on? There we go. 205, what's up?
Johnny boy, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Good morning to you. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind, my friend? Thanks for the call.
Okay, I got three things. Okay. So this weekend, are we wearing our green jerseys?
I have no idea. The latest news I heard is Freeman. Here we go. I'm going to yell again. I'm going to get mad again. So they're saying Freeman's going to, we're going to talk to the team and decide whether we're going to wear green or not, blah, 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 blah. The whole thing rubs me the wrong way, and it's weird. Here's why. The whole thing's messed up. You got this Louisville game, and Notre Dame's gone out of their way to not make it a big deal. So they made sure it was a day game, and you made sure it's not even on TV, it's on the app. But it's also the Irish wear green game. So then what are you going to do? You're going to wear the green jerseys, but it's not even a night game and it's not even on TV. So we kind of are saying it's not a big game, but we're kind of saying it might be a big game. Nobody can decide yes or no or whatever. Screw the green jerseys. Just go play. You don't play good enough in blue. You don't deserve the green. Go try and win a game in your blues. And you know what else, too? The bar's coming down where the green jersey game now is Louisville. It rubs me the wrong way.
I mean, honestly, I'd rather us wear the green jerseys against I'm gonna say it. I think they're trash. A trash team like Louisville, all right? And because I like the traditional colors of games like a Florida State or a Stanford, and all our traditional rivals and all the traditional teams. I'd rather wear a green jersey against like this, like how we wore it against Cal. But another thing, with the last caller, I'm going to disagree just a little bit. I think we saw a lot of improvement. Well, not a lot. I take that back. A little improvement with Riley Leonard after he threw the ball to Bo, and it was a beautiful ball, and I don't think it was lucky. I think he saw it and he read it perfectly. He started to throw the ball a little bit more, and no, they weren't completed, and they weren't the best balls, but, I mean, it was better than him just sitting there and getting nervous, happy feet, and then running out the pocket. What do you think?
Yeah. I do think you did see some of that development. The question is it enough? Is it enough to beat Louisville? Is it enough to make anybody feel like this is where it needs to be is the question. Even just the balls they threw downfield and drew flags on is an improvement because it's just good things happen if you could stretch the field even a little bit. You got a couple penalties even. Like there was some progress, but why should I trust I'm going to see you take off from there against Louisville, a better defense? I don't trust that. Just because you did it against that Miami, Ohio doesn't make me feel like you're going to be able to do it against Louisville.
I mean, I agree with what you're saying right there, but the fact that we didn't see it at all, we didn't see it. Like we tried to do it against NIU, and he threw a beautiful 2nd and 1, a 60-yard ball down the field. It was a beautiful ball right to the defender. But the fact that we changed that now, and it's now to our receivers, and we're getting them, we're allowing them to make plays, like how Marcus said at the Texas A&M game. He said, "Trust your guys, trust Bo." When Bo made that beautiful catch against A&M, I mean, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's like ever since that moment right there, he's been a little, like, I don't know, he's been too hesitant. But now this past Saturday, he's starting to step up in the pocket and throw some dimes, and I like it a little bit.
Well,
like
there you go. All right.
Great house.
You know what? I like this call. There's a little positivity and a little bit of hope there. Now, let me ask this. I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to ask you a similar question I asked the last caller. What is your confidence level that you're going to see a Notre Dame team start this game at home, engaged and ready to play solid winning football, not take a quarter and a half or forever to wake up? What is your confidence level in that?
My confidence level is that I think we're going to be ready to go. I don't know if we're going to win. I'll be honest. I don't know if we're going to win. I feel like we're going to win. I'm confident that we're going to win. I just don't know. I don't even got a score, but I think we'll be ready to go because it's the same with Marcus. He's got to fix this, but we could be playing his first ever game against Oklahoma State. He had them boys ready. We lost kind of embarrassingly because we're up by 21, but he had the boys ready to go. Against Ohio State, we played our butts off. They were just better. We are ready to go. And against the lower level teams like NIU, Marshall, and Miami of Ohio, the boys don't show up. So the bigger the caliber of the game, the more the boys are ready to go. So I think the boys are going to be ready to go this Saturday.
Man, you better be.
I'm confident that they're going to. I'm confident that they're going to punch them, man.
Oh man, I appreciate that. I like hearing some of the positivity there. We'll see what we're going to get. Anything else on your mind, my friend?
One more. So, and your last call kind of made me a little nervous because he was saying, "I'm not worried about this week. I'm worried about next week. Next week, I'm going to my first the Stanford game will be my first ever Notre Dame game I've ever gone to. I'm from Alabama, and, you know, you can imagine the hell I've gone through being a diehard Notre Dame fan down here. And so I really don't want to lose this game going up to Stanford next weekend. And are you going to do anything? Is there going to be a tailgate or anything? Or are you going to be there?
I don't believe so. Last weekend was my big one, my big trip over and the big tailgate weekend and everything. So I'm not planning on going back. Have too many content obligations. Do I got you?
Oh, hello.
Yep.
You're saying about your tailgate?
Yeah. I don't know what happened, buddy. I didn't hang up on you. Must be that them Alabama phone lines or something, man. But yeah, not going to be there. Too much going on. Pat, I'm coming to you. Getting Mason on here. He's got to get back to work. And then Pat, I got you. I see you. 574 Mason. What's going on, buddy?
Johnny, what's going on, man? Yeah, got you in between calls, tapped into the show, and was hoping I'd be able to get through.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. First, first things first is, folks, this is Mason Plumber. He is one of the writers on the Sports Illustrated Notre Dame Fighting Irish staff. Mason, thanks for joining us, man. What do you make of all this Notre Dame situation this week?
Yeah, it's interesting, and I think I share the sentiment that a lot of your callers have already this morning, in that I feel better about Notre Dame in big games. So it feels weird to say Louisville's a big game just with how the schedule shook out, but they're ranked ahead of us right now, and that's the spot you put yourself in when you put yourself in a hole again, losing to NIU. So
yep.
I don't actually think Louisville is the number 15 team in the country, but this isn't a game that you can drop. And like you had said at the top, you can't be out of the playoff race before September's even over. So I feel confident.
Mason, both losses at home too. Both losses at home too. Like you just,
right.
It's if you just write it out, it paints a horrible story. Like it's just really a rough story. If you just read the facts like that, it looks awful. You can't have it, man.
Yep, it's awful. And speaking of the home atmosphere, I share the same sentiment you do about the techno polka music. I can't stand it, and whoever approved that needs to be fired.
It's in the other thing, Mason, is if you did it like once a half, I could live with it. But they play that song 20 times a quarter, and it's obnoxious, and no one even moves to it, or you get no reaction. I can't understand the appeal of that song, and it's awful. And that lady yelling, getting everybody pumped up or whatever. It's too much for me. I wish you were just better at football.
The techno polka is the last thing I'd want to hear after a big third down stop. I've never understood it. Like, you're trying to create a scary or big atmosphere, and you're trying to get away from the wine and cheese crowd, and then you play that with a big game against USC or Clemson or Louisville or something like that. Play something that the guys want to hear.
Or even if you do you could go back to Turn Down for What is better than this. Or why can't you go back to the I got hoes calling, and they play the bass and the whole thing shakes. You could do that even. The whole place rattles when you do that.
Go back to spamming Crazy Train.
But dude, at least all of that stuff, I could see it pumping the guys up a little bit. But who are you pumping up? Kids going to Six Flags on a field trip? I don't understand. I hate it, man.
We're just catering to the 70-year-olds, the down in front crowd, like always.
Oh, it's just brutal. So, okay, Mason, so you're kind of thinking that because this is a bigger profile game, Notre Dame's going to take it more seriously, and therefore you're more confident we're going to show up ready to play than we were against Northern at home. It's a bad place to be, but I understand your thinking.
Well, it's just a weird spot to be because Freeman, in a lot of ways, is the opposite of Kelly, where I feel good in big games because he has them ready, and you don't have that deer in the headlights look that you always had with Kelly. But then he has to learn how to get them up for the smaller games. Kelly won every game he was supposed to, never won a game he wasn't supposed to, and we kind of have the opposite going on here. So I want to think, maybe it's just me liking Freeman more. I want to think that it's easier to get them up, or to be able to teach yourself to get the guys up for a smaller game rather than Kelly being unable to ever win a big game. But I don't know, something's got to change.
Yeah, and then I want to ask you this. What do you feel about the development of this offense? Do you feel like you're seeing some progress here with Riley Leonard in this passing game or whatever? Is it enough? Is it too late? Is it made up just to make us feel better? What are you seeing with the development of this offense or lack thereof?
There was a little bit of progress in the second half, but I think that, I don't know if people are lying to themselves or what, but I've been seeing all over the place that, we saw a lot of improvement in the second half with Riley Leonard, seeing his reads, this and that. And I don't totally see it yet. And I'm not going to pretend like I'm some great X's and O's guy. I watch the stuff on your Patreon and they teach me a lot, but to my eye viewing, the first, second, and third time I watched the game, there wasn't a ton of improvement, and I need to see it improve. And a lot of it goes back to what you had said about you can't just run the ball against Louisville and expect to win.
Yeah. And
I got a lot of flack for that. I posted an article earlier this week saying you can't just be one-dimensional, and then you get people saying Michigan just beat USC being one-dimensional. Sure, you don't want to do that, though. Why are people okay with being one-dimensional?
No, well, but the other thing is Notre Dame's, but all these teams are different. Like, it's specific to like the way Notre Dame operates and whatever. Like, if you're going to run the ball like Michigan did last year, you could be one dimensional if you're going to be that dominant with what you do every week. We're not at that level with anything we do. So it's just a totally different thing. You're going to have to do a little of both. I don't know what you're going to do, Mason. And that defense, that's the other thing. You're giving up 9.75 points a game. You're going to need another performance like that, I think, because I don't see Notre Dame racking up the score against these guys.
Yeah, probably not. Notre Dame at the most will score 24-27. I'd be okay with that. I don't see the defense allowing more than 10 or 14. They kind of run this air raid offense, and I would like to see them try to throw against our emerging DBs. You already have Bemo, Watts, Gray, Leonard Moore being thrown into the mix. I'm writing an article as we speak about how Leonard Moore is going to need to step up. I'm not worried about him stepping up. It's just, you're trusting a freshman with increased snap count now. And but Benjamin Morrison says that Leonard Moore will be better than him when it's all said and done. So that's encouraging. Yeah,
that is encouraging. And the last I looked, I didn't look early this morning. I saw Notre Dame was a 6.5 point favorite. That surprises me a little bit, even though it's at home. That kind of confidence in Notre Dame surprises me a little bit. I don't know what we're going to get. I don't know what I could trust. And I was just a little surprised to still see that when I checked yesterday.
John, to be honest with you, maybe I'm a homer, but I hit an alternate spread yesterday for minus 20.5.
There you go. Hey, man. Mason, I just don't know what we're going to get, buddy. And I don't want to think about what this is going to be if you're out of the playoff before October. Again, 2 home losses.
I don't want to think about it.
Mason, it's going to get dark. It's going to get real dark because this is going to get real ugly. You just can't put yourself in that position.
It'll get real dark for me too, especially on Saturday. I think I threw in our chat. Saturday's a big day for me personally. So Notre Dame loss would really kill the vibe, John.
Ooh, man, we got to pull it out. And then you get to that bye, you could take an exhale and kind of see what we're doing. And anything else, my friend, I wish you luck with the personal stuff you got going on and all that, man. And, living your life. Don't let Notre Dame ruin it.
Right. It's hard not to at this point.
I know.
I'm confident we'll get the win. I don't know how pretty or ugly it'll be, but only one way to find out. That's really all I've got. Notre Dame basketball news expected in the next couple days that Nathan Erbach and I will be covering on the site. Football recruiting has been a little bit slow, but another big visitor list coming in this Saturday that we'll be sure to report on. So stay locked to Notre Dame on SI.
Yeah, that'll be beautiful. And then what I'd like to do is the next time you feel that it's warranted, hop on over here on YouTube and we'll do an episode just on the recruiting, whether it's a big visitor weekend or there's news or where things are trending or whatever. It's been a while since we've done that, getting busy into the week-to-week season stuff. But I want to have you on and be able to do a bigger picture on all the recruiting news, okay?
Yeah, let's plan that for the bye week.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's perfect for the bye week. All right. Hey, I really appreciate you giving me the call. I know you're probably busy at work here, but thanks for touching base. And everybody go to the website, check it out. Mason doing some good work there. Have a good one, buddy. Thanks.
Yep. Appreciate it, John.
Yep. See ya. Oh, Tom, I see you. 815. I see you guys. What's going on, Pat? Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Johnny.
Hey, wait. Number one is, Pat. Number one is,
go ahead.
Thank you very much for all of your help and everything you do for these tailgates and being a man of the people and having just the whole thing and having the Cotter crew there and everything you do to help set up. It's a long, early day. Thanks for everything, buddy.
I literally did nothing but show up and bring 2 cases of beer. But hey, you got it, buddy. Anytime.
All right, never mind. I take that back.
But your hey, Angela, your parents, the hardest working people at the tailgate are your mom, your dad, and your brother for sure. Adam Dowling, I mean, sweat was pouring off that guy as he's trying to cook all that food.
Yep.
And then Craig as well is working hard for the tailgate. So the tailgate itself. Thinking back to the first time we did one in a spring game when it was cold out, to what we just had this past weekend. I am so happy and proud of you for what you've been able to accomplish. These people come out and they love you. You had little kids coming up to you asking you for your autograph. You signed it Always Irish, not John Kennedy, moron. You're still John Kennedy. But the fact that all these people were coming to see you and asking you to take pictures with you, and you went out of your way to make sure you engage with everybody. I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you for what you accomplished, and I can't wait for how far you can continue to take this. It was a great time. Dr. John and his daughters were amazing. That was phenomenal. And so it just, there was every year there's a surprise and a twist and something new, and somebody brings you something. Somebody gave me a bottle of whiskey, just for being a part of the show with you and helping you out. It was a great time, great event. I can't wait for next year. And as Dowling said, we're gonna have to think about something different for food, because he can't cook that much food for that many people anymore.
You know what I was thinking about as I got home and like the rush of the weekend kind of slowed down? It's growing to the point where we need to reevaluate some of what we're doing. And that is a good problem to have, but like with the food and being able to accommodate a bigger group and a bigger, like, we're changing in a good way. And it was just great to see everybody. And you know what else I'm proud of, Pat, is I give my mom credit for this. It was a genius idea to have the board of people to sign the state and country they're from. And we had 20 states and 3 countries represented at that tailgate. And that means a lot to me, because those are all people that wouldn't know each other, and they were all connected together in one big group. I'm proud of that. You got people from all over that came together for that. And that I'm really proud of that part.
Yeah, no, it was a fantastic time. All right, now on to the football game.
And then I could hear your voice get sad once we transition. Back to the football. I don't know.
Let's talk. You've been touching on the stadium experience, so let's talk about that first. You said the crowd kind of seemed pumped, and then the team still came out flat. Yes, but you know what though, John? I was sitting there looking around the stadium. Even halfway through the first quarter, there were a lot of empty seats. Now the stadium, the way the seats are, and you get so tight in there, it's hard to see them. But I thought there were a lot of empty seats. And I was looking up in the wine and cheese area where Adam Dowling was sitting. There were a lot of empty seats up there. Maybe those people are all just
the seat backs. The ones on each sideline with the seat backs. There was a lot of open ones where the big cigar smokers sit with the padded seats on each side. I think, is that just that they're not going to go there for that matchup? They just don't value that matchup.
That matchup.
Yeah.
But you know what? It just tells me that I think because of some of the outcomes of this football team. I mean, you lost to NIU. There's not a ton of enthusiasm behind it. I thought the tailgating was fine, but we had our own little thing going. So I don't know how it was around the rest of the campus. But I didn't feel a ton of enthusiasm. I felt a ton of worry and concern, and like, oh God, are we in for another Northern Illinois today? And then for the first half of the football game, it felt that way. It felt like we were in for another Northern Illinois today. So that was, and then you're talking about all the, let's not forget my wife loses her cell phone in a restroom. My nephew loses my brother's debit card at the concession stand. So like the whole game day experience was not the most enjoyable for me. And then just had to sit there and watch that football game.
Everything was better in the parking lot, Pat. Everything was a lot more fun in the parking lot. It really was.
Yeah, and then we go. So let's go to the game itself. And God, so underwhelming. I'm going to talk about the defense first, because although the defense played fantastic, there was comments about, and you talked about it earlier, about it feels like our defensive line gets pushed around, and then the stats don't bear it out. I'm really concerned with that, because I agree with it. It doesn't feel like, it looks like our defensive line is getting pushed around, and I think our linebackers are playing very well. But what I see happening is that the defensive staff is making these adjustments to fix some of the problems that are appearing. And that means to me that the defensive staff is coming in with a game plan that they're not ready for. Where the opposing offensive coaches have put together a plan that the defense wasn't thinking about. So I'm a little concerned about that. Now, the defense is talented enough and our coaches are experienced enough to quickly realize that and fix it. I haven't seen any of these problems that start at games go through the first quarter. But and like Purdue game didn't have any of these problems. But the defense does figure it out and settle down. So, but there is something there about the start of the game and the opening game plan for the defense that has me slightly worried. And so when you bring a team in like Louisville and you don't have the right plan in place and they come out with something, they get points early, you're on your heels. And you can't be afforded to be on your heels when you can't throw the ball 5 yards down the field.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, at the same time, though, I think Mason was right. I don't see us giving up more than 10 to 13 points to really anybody on our schedule, let alone Louisville.
What about the offensive side of the ball? I'm afraid to ask.
Okay. All right. So, John, you and I, we're going to have to do a whole show about the offense. I don't know. I think I said it to you during the game, but this to me it's Brandon Wimbush and Ian Book all over again. And it's like, at what point is the coaching staff going to realize that they cannot continue to put a person on the field who cannot make a downfield pass? I get it. He can run and he looks great running the ball, and that's fine. But he's not the size of Cam Newton. He doesn't have the elusiveness and the breakaway speed of the kid at LSU last year, Jane Daniels. That's not who he is. He could get away. He's sneaky, but he can't run you over, and he's not going to run around. He's not fast enough to run around everybody on the defense. He's going to get hurt. So that can't be your entire game plan. Can't be, let's just run this kid as an option quarterback or let's sneak him out, because it's not going to work. You have to be able to stretch the field. You have to be able to stretch out the opponent's defense, because what you're going to be left with are 9 guys in the box because they know you can't throw the ball. And we still haven't seen if these wide receivers are any good, because we haven't had a quarterback who can get the ball to them even when they're wide open. So I have no confidence in the situation with the quarterback right now. And, I saw some of the clips and I heard what you're saying about Goolsby saying it looks like it's coming together. And I've seen some articles as well that it looked like it was coming together. We're talking about the end of a football game against Miami, Ohio, when Miami, Ohio couldn't move the ball down the field. Marcus Freeman had no concern with Miami, Ohio getting the football back because he knew that that offense wasn't going to move the ball. So, of course, they were trying to do more things with them. When you go up against a defense that has speed that can equal your speed, you're in trouble. This stuff isn't going to work. You're not going to be able to find a groove if you don't start early, and you can't hope that you're just going to figure shit out. So he's going to start. I understand he's going to start. I hope he does figure it out. I hope it does work out. But I am not seeing anything from him, and I'm not seeing anything from the coaching staff, especially on the offensive side of the ball, to tell me that Notre Dame could win this football game.
Ooh.
I just don't see it.
Man, that's tough.
I don't.
Oh, that's tough.
I don't like how can anyone have? Now, like I said, I still don't think Louisville can score more than 13 points. Notre Dame could do that on defensive turnovers. Notre Dame could do that on field goals. They should be able to, at least. They should be able to. You have 2 of the best running backs in the country. You're probably going to have a 50-yarder broken. That's just going to happen. But you can't rely on that. And if you have a Louisville team that just comes in and shuts you down offensively because you can't throw the ball, you're in trouble. And you could very well lose this game 13-6.
And
man, it'd be the most embarrassing. That would feel more embarrassing than that would feel to me more embarrassing than the NIU score.
And then you're sitting on that during
everything you're concerned about.
You're sitting on that over a bye too. You would have a half a month of misery with it would be a nightmare in the Notre Dame niche
and
for
your season's
sure.
Over.
Yeah, this is just.
Your season's over. And here's the deal. Here's the thing. If this is what I am looking for this football team this weekend. If this guy doesn't have successful drives where he's moving the ball downfield, doesn't necessarily have to be touchdowns, but you're clearly moving the football and you're getting some sort of points, or you're getting down there to where it's like, okay, stupid off start, or just like something happens that kills the drive, but it's clear he's comfortable and he's moving the ball and he's making his reads. Okay, fine, let's keep playing him. But if you have what you had at the start of Miami, Ohio game, and you can't gain 3 yards because he's missing wide open receivers and he's making his first read and immediately running into the defensive end that he doesn't see coming, you got to pull him out of the game and give Angeli a chance, You are not giving Angeli a chance because you think he's better. You're giving Angeli a chance because your season, and if you're Marcus Freeman, your career is on the line. Because if you lose this game Saturday, I'm out.
Man. Oh,
I'm
that's
out.
tough.
And if you're losing me, you're losing a hell of a lot of people. You cannot lose to Northern Illinois when people are expecting you to go undefeated after you win the biggest game of the season, and then you lose to Northern Illinois, and then you lose another game before September's even over.
Whoo!
I'm out.
Man, that's
bye,
tough.
Marcus. I'm done. And you know what? His buyout is only $4 million. It's not that much money to Notre Dame. They're still paying Charlie Weiss off.
Man, that's tough. That's a tough situation. So you got to avoid it. Scratch and claw your way. Figure out a way to win this one. Get into the bye, and then
you have to
figure out where you're at.
And you know what? Here's the thing. If Leonard sucks, and then you put Angeli in, and Angeli sucks, at least you could say, "Look, I tried it. It didn't work.
Yeah,
we had to go back, or we had to go to CJ, or we had to go to Kenny. We had to make another change. But at least try it. Don't lose doing the same stupid ass thing over and over again.
Man,
don't do that. That's what Notre Dame has been doing for 30 years. They've been losing, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting something to be different. And that's what Marcus Freeman is going to do right now. If he sticks with this kid, when this kid is showing he cannot move the football.
Woo, man. There's a lot of meat on that bone. Check it out on the bingo card. There's a lot of meat on that bone, Pat.
Now, if you ask me what do I actually think is going to happen, I do think Notre Dame is going to win the football game.
After all that, we circled the wagons all the way back to at the end. Yeah, we'll find a way. Is it just because we don't want to think about what it'd be like on the other side?
Yeah, it's exactly because I think you think this is what drives me nuts. This is a championship caliber defense. Like I said, I'm worried about the game plan for the defense when it comes out, but it's a championship level defense. This is a defense that can win. And logically, I can't take that defense and say a team like Louisville, even with Notre Dame's porous offense, should beat Notre Dame. I can't do that. But at the same time, I'm not divorced from reality that says, if you can lose to Northern Illinois, you can get smoked by Louisville.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's all real. That's all real.
You haven't had a home game to show that you can actually come out ready to play, and you play two bad teams. And nobody like Northern Illinois lost to Buffalo. Come on.
Yeah, it's man.
Okay, and then. Yeah, it's frustrating. It's annoying, and it's even more frustrating when you see guys like Kennedy Urlacher and Bryce Young starting to peak. They're not peak, but show up and like they're getting noticed. And you're like, God damn, he's really getting these guys. These guys are going to be stud players, but you can't put. This is year 3. You got to have it put together. You have a good enough football team to put it together.
Yeah. Oh man. It's going to be a big. This is a big needle mover this week, Pat. And we're going to see how it goes. Hopefully we show up ready to play. Anything else, man?
And now we can't. And now I got to go. Well, now I got to go order Peacock.
There's got to be a feed on YouTube or something for free people can find. Come on.
I'm sure.
Or listen to it on the Catholic radio channel. Listen to it on the AM National Catholic radio channel. Always as the broadcast.
This is another day game, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I have golf in the morning and then my daughter's birthday party in the afternoon. So I don't even know if I'll even be able to watch the game. And then that means I won't be able to do post game either.
Well, do what you got to do. That might be better for everybody's safety anyways, Pat. It might be. Hang in there, buddy. And
the last game I didn't watch, they lost.
Man. Unbelievable. Yeah, you walked in from the golf course to a nightmare. Gosh. All right.
Yep.
Hey, thanks for everything again. Happy birthday to the daughter, man. Thanks. Yep.
Thanks, buddy.
See ya.
Have a good show.
Yep. And again, here's the other thing with these tailgates. I got to give Pat credit. Pat's the one who really said, John, why aren't you doing these tailgates? Like people will show up. Like we need to get our group and have a big tailgate thing and make it a big thing. So Pat's really the one who brought that idea to me of like, we have enough people that are into this. We could have our own group and not tailgate with anybody else and set it up. So thanks to him. And he's ever the hype man there all day. Couple super chats, right back to the calls. Justin Indy Troll Sniper, $10 been a rough season. Here's to hoping things improve. Well, we're gonna see either a lot of improvement or going the other way this week. MJH Irish, $10. Thank you very much. Is there any reason to expect that the Irish will look any better against Louisville than they have against MAC teams? I think they're going to be flat, which is coaching, and it pisses me off. You could argue the bigger the moment and the bigger the matchup and the bigger the game and the better the opponent, the better Notre Dame prepares and shows up to play. That is disturbing and upsetting to report, but there seems to be a theme with these Freeman teams that the better the team is that we're matching up against, the more prepared Notre Dame seems to be to play those games. And when it's a sleeper, then we sleep. And it's upsetting, and it's not good coaching and preparation. Something's wrong. But if you want like hope on the upside that we show up, that's got to be it, right? We play better against better teams, I guess. Tom, what's going on? Welcome to the show.
Hey, John, I want to go off a little bit topic here. I don't want to talk about the game.
Okay.
I want to talk about Marcus Freeman.
Okay.
And how he actually got to where he is. I still, when he got hired, I still don't understand the hiring, why it was him. I remember leading up that year, he was getting a lot of talk, even on the national broadcast. Marcus Freeman, he's an up-and-coming coach. He's on everybody's watch list to get hired away. And then it happens, and then they give him the job. And I still think it was a rush to judgment, and we're paying the price for it. Because every nightmare of the last 3 years is being relived this season. And now you're seeing it manifest itself in his lack of leadership.
Let me ask you this. Let me stop. Let me ask you this. And I don't know the answer to this. Do you believe Notre Dame approached other candidates that weren't interested or turned down the job and then they went to Freeman? Or do you believe that Freeman was like the in-house easy answer, pair him with Reese to keep keep a strand of what was already there? Like, how do you believe that dynamic went?
I believe it's the second part of what you just said. I believe they wanted to stay in-house, and it all had to do with recruiting and keeping everybody on board. And instead of having to go out that extra week or 2 weeks to find a coach, because if they really did that, if Swarbrick really did that search, John, there would have been 3 or 4 other coaches that would have popped up, and they didn't. They would have had to go through the interview process, and I know he didn't want to wait. So I just look at it, but you go from that crappy decision to now Marcus Freeman. We got to live with what he's done now, like Down Pat said, and like Patrick said, the frustrating part is he has recruited so well, but you can see just when they asked him that stupid question this week, are they going to wear green jerseys or not? The way he hemmed and hawed and said, well, I leave it up to the team. No, you make that decision like Dan Devine made the decision in 77. Okay? You do this behind the scenes and you make the decision. It should not even be talked about, especially in the middle of this pre-dumpster fire season. Now, like Pat said before, the strange thing is that this could be corrected, but we don't have the head coach to do it. I'm sorry.
So, Tom, it feels like it feels to me like you're kind of resigned to the fact that like Freeman's not picking up on this and developing? Like, you don't feel like he's
not.
okay. And like, that's what I'm trying to get a gauge of like, if you feel that this is all a work in progress and he's feeling his way through, it sounds like you're done having patience for that process.
Yeah, and the problem is that I've seen this movie before. The same thing that Jerry Faust did. Jerry Faust was a phenomenal recruiter. I mean, well, half of the team that won the '88 national championship team were Faust recruits, more than half. So, I mean, I don't want to. I hate having to live through this. How many more times is Notre Dame going to hire the wrong coach? Now, do we give them more slack? I mean, because if they get beat Saturday, then we go back to that question you brought up earlier. Is this now? Do we go into development mode with the quarterbacks so as not to lose any of the recruits that are coming in? I don't know how he's going to handle it. I just think, and it's so frustrating because you're catching Louisville at the wrong time. Again, just like last year. Remember how we caught Louisville after 4 straight night games and
Yep.
being on the road.
Yep.
And no break, and then they walked into that, and that was a tough place to play because they made it a night game. I mean, there's a lot of things stacked against them. I just hope that they're not going to come out flat like they did again. I really do.
Yeah.
And I think he addressed that. But when you have to get your kids up to play a day game in Notre Dame Stadium, that's a bad sign to me.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
It's really frustrating that we think, you got 12 games, you got half of them are at home. How can you not be totally fired up to go put that helmet on and play in front of your home people and be locked in and in front of the home crowd? Like, it seems like impossible to us, but there's some disconnect going on. It's a mental thing. It's got to be a mental thing. There's something going on there. It's uncomfortable.
No, and John, the other part of it is to actually what it's palpable. As bad as that stadium environment is, and I told you about that after the Northern Illinois game, how bad that woman is on the microphone, being the cheerleader, pumping it in. I mean,
yelling the whole game.
She's got a voice that could pierce lead. And then when it's up that high in decibels, it actually stifles the atmosphere.
Yeah.
I remember there were young kids sitting next to me in their late teens, early 20s, and they were covering their ears like, who is this woman?
Yeah.
And it's frightening. So I gotta believe, I would love to know I'd like to read the emails and hear the voicemails that Pete Bavacqua is getting. I bet you he's getting bombarded from his former classmates and the rest of the alumni. Yeah. Because I know they're not.
And you know what else? You know what, Tom? I don't believe you're on Twitter. Maybe you are. But I've seen a bunch of people on Twitter say that they were getting yelled at to sit down in the Northern game and this one too, and they were emailing about that too. Like, well, here we are at sleepy Notre Dame. You're not even able to stand up on a third down. I'm getting yelled at. So I don't know, man. I think for those big night games, the experience is pretty decent now. But I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah. It was at the USC game last year. It was. And actually the crowd noise drowned out that woman because she was part of the program last year too, if you remember.
Yeah, I do.
And God, it's like nails on a chalkboard. So there's a lot of things that they've got to fix down there. And it's not too far off because at the end of the day, when you look at the talent that's on the team, if they went back to basics and fundamentals, and they can get a little bit of the running game going Saturday, I would keep pounding that rock I'd give that ball 35 times to Jeremiah Love and until the kid was out of gas.
Yeah.
And let it go and then play good defense. I mean, it's not that hard. It's not rocket science. And I think they're trying to make it too hard.
Yeah.
They're making it too difficult on themselves. So we'll see, John. But great show today.
Man,
and,
Tom, I can hear the anxiety in your Notre Dame voice, and it's upsetting me, man, because I could just tell it's coming from a genuine place, and I can just kind of hear the kind of like exhaustion with this scenario. I can just kind of hear it in your voice, man.
Well, it is what it is, and I saw. So when I saw that Louisville had turned back tickets back to the Notre Dame ticket office, and they put tickets on, I think the tickets are gone now. So there's 6,000 tickets that go to the opposing team, anywhere between 5,000 and 6,000 tickets for every home game. And I know Louisville got 6, so they turned back tickets, and I immediately called my Notre Dame network, and not one person wanted to go to the game.
Interesting.
One.
That's really interesting. Yeah. Maybe it's wait and see mode. Tom, I really appreciate the call, buddy, and I can hear the stress in your voice, and I know it's coming from a real place of love for Notre Dame and wanting us to be good. We'll see what we're going to get this week, man. It's a big week, and maybe Notre Dame can rise up and get into the bye, and we'll feel a lot better.
Yeah, hopefully. All right, John, you take care. See you later, everybody.
Have
Bye-bye.
a good one. Take care, Tom. Man, I could just hear the frustration in his voice. I really can. It's interesting. Andrew, I see you. 815, make it come alive. What's going on?
How's it going, John?
It's going okay. I mean, everybody's just wound a little tight, man. You don't know whether you're coming or going or what you're going to get from Notre Dame, and it's a big week with everything in the balance. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's the tale of two teams this season so far. They look great against A&M. Get that feather in the cap win that we all talked about before that game. And then you lay an egg, a massive egg against NIU, something that you just cannot do as the head coach at Notre Dame. And then like, oh well, maybe season's over, and then you go give Purdue the worst loss in their program history, and we're like, okay, maybe they've got this thing back on track. And then you go out there and you're down 3-0 with 4 minutes to go in the first half against Miami, Ohio. So it's so weird. I've never seen a team like this. As I look at it now, maybe this is just a Freeman thing, because this is why I feel I'm more confident about the Louisville game than most people, because it's a pattern since Freeman has been here that his teams play up to the competition and they also play down to their competition. This is a ranked opponent at home, green out game. You should be wearing the green jerseys. I don't get the whole got to ask the captains about it. That doesn't make much sense. But regardless, I'm like the caller said before, a couple of callers before me, I'm more worried about Stanford, Navy, Georgia Tech, because we've seen Notre Dame under Freeman play up to those, the ranked teams. But I mean, Navy's undefeated right now, John. I don't know if you've seen what they did this past weekend. They dropped 56 points against Memphis. And you think, oh, they ran the ball. No, they threw for 200 yards, something Notre Dame has yet to do. So, I mean, that's where we're at, man. It's a tale of two different teams, and it's a roller coaster ride that we're on.
Yeah, it really is. It's just you coaches love consistency, man. Like having a baseline of expectations, like where you. Like coaches like being able to have a foundation of like, where you're at and you could grow from there. You know what you're going to get. This team is just too many swings, really high, really low. And we can't seem to find a level in between. Like, I want to believe this is a better team and a better game this week, so Notre Dame's going to show up, but like, I just can't trust it. Your evidence is 0 for 2 this year of showing up at home ready to go. And I want to bring this up. Is it not feel weird to you that we're doing the green game thing, but the game's not even on TV? You got to have an app, and it's not a night game, and Notre Dame's going out of their way, by the way they built this all out, to make it not a huge game. They're going out of their way to do that, and it's not even on TV, but we're kind of making it a big game by maybe doing the green and doing the Irish wear green. That all seems a little conflicting to me, no?
Yeah, it is. And I think they originally scheduled this game because I fully believe that the Florida State game should have been the green-out game before Florida State was terrible. But I believe that they did this with Louisville game, especially putting it on Peacock and making it that 2:30 Peacock exclusive game, because they wanted to kind of send a message. Because if you remember, John, Louisville switched the game time last year. It wasn't supposed to be a night game at Louisville until they made it that and made it their Super Bowl. So I think kind of Notre Dame wanted to kind of flip that and kind of get back at Louisville and say, hey, you guys aren't.
Oh no, dude,
we are for you.
The second I saw this setup, that was my reaction, and I said it on this show. I said it feels intentional of Notre Dame to go out of their way to minimize this game and do the opposite of what Louisville did last year, being like, nope, you're not getting a night game at our place. Nope, it's not even going to be on TV. We're making all your people in the trailer park down there have to get an app subscription or whatever to be doing this, okay? And you're going to have to look it up and all that. And it all felt like they were trying to minimize it. But if you're going to do the green, you're legitimizing it. So you're playing both sides of this. Yeah. And none of that has to do with us just not being good enough at football. I got a problem with all of it. I'm losing my mind, dude. Being a Notre Dame fan will literally make you lose your mind. It's amazing that we all do this. It's just, it'll make you go insane.
You know what, John? I'm only 24 years old, so I can't imagine what it's like. Because it's been a pain in the ass being a Notre Dame fan. It's been work. It's been a job. I can't imagine dealing with this for 12 more years.
Oh,
man.
I
just can't.
I'll be 40 in a couple weeks, man. I'll be 40. And so I'm just old enough that I was alive for the good stuff, but don't remember it. And everything that I can remember has been one nightmare reel after the next. Give me a break.
Oh, man. You know, look, dude, this is what's gonna piss me off Saturday night. If we come out and we look like we did against NIU and Miami, Ohio, that says volumes about Freeman as a coach than just more than what we've already seen. Because I'll be honest, this team shouldn't need a rah-rah speech or Freeman to do the whole A&M hype up for this game. This is a team that kicked your ass last year and at their place, made it a primetime game, and absolutely ruined your season. The guys should be ready to. They should have been ready for this game since spring ball started. It's been like the USC game last year, where they talked about it all spring. USC, Caleb Williams painting his nail. They should have that same energy Saturday night against Louisville. If we don't see that, then there's an issue. There's a real problem. You don't need motivation for this game. It's already there.
Yeah, it should be, but is Notre Dame going to operate that way? Are they all on that program? Like, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to get. Are you going to get that revenge factor?
I mean, because I tell you what, John, and I'm sure you feel the same way. If I'm Jeff Brom, if I'm those Louisville players, I'm licking my chops at this game right now. And that's the one thing that, you can credit Jeff Brom. He's one of the best head coaches in the game. Is his teams, they know when they smell blood in the water, and they won't be Miami, Ohio, and only score 3 points in the first half if Notre Dame's not doing stuff on offense. They will kill. They will take the kill shot immediately, like we saw last year. So you have no margin for error in this game. You don't.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, Notre Dame is the more talented team. Top to bottom, roster to roster, Notre Dame is the more talented team. So they should win this game. The only reason they don't is if that Marcus Freeman team comes out flat and he gets simply out-coached like he did last year.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man, but it just makes me a little nervous. You're going to need to be able to run and pass the ball a little bit and be decent at both, I think, to win this game. And I just haven't seen enough evidence that I believe Notre Dame could do that enough. Maybe they could grind out a win and the defense plays good or whatever, but you're going to have to be somewhat effective doing both things on offense. And I don't know if I have the confidence right now that we'll do it. I'm sorry, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think what was it? We were doing our Twitter space after the Miami Ohio game, and we were talking, and somebody goes, Miami Ohio, or not Miami Ohio, Louisville's going to stack the box, and they're going to play press man all game. He's like,
oh yeah, why wouldn't you?
Able to throw the ball?
Yeah, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? And so,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you're just gonna have to be more effective here. And I don't know what we're gonna get, man. It'd be a good sign if we appear engaged and ready to play from the beginning of the game. That would be good. But you can't be out of playoff contention with 2 losses at home before the calendar turns to October, and then tell me things are trending in the right direction for the program. You can't. No one could sell me that. That is the bigger picture problem here, is that.
Yeah, and also, John, can we I feel like Freeman used to take the fine. I saw somebody mention this on Twitter. Freeman used to take the fine and stop doing post-game press conferences after games where we don't perform.
He's not good at it.
He says things.
He's not good at it. He's not good at it, and it's not getting better. It's the pressure.
Make a 5-yard pass,
bro.
Stop calling the pass.
The pressure keeps ramping up, and I think he feels it, and he's more in his head, knowing everybody's overanalyzing everything he says because everybody's all stressed out, and it's getting worse, not better. He's not doing well in those interviews. It's a rough scene. So I don't know, man. I just hope you could get it together and figure this out. But it would be a good way to get into the bye if you could get this win. But I have anxiety about it. Anything else, my friend? Thanks for touching base.
Yeah. One more thing, and the previous caller before me, he said he didn't agree with the Freeman hire and all that stuff. And actually, if we want to take a look back, who are the top candidates? Your other options, right? You had Matt Campbell from Iowa State.
Yeah.
Luke Fickell. I mean, what's Luke Fickell doing right now? He hasn't lost to NIU, but he's struggling to beat Western Michigan and South Dakota and FCS program every week. So, I mean, was that really a better option? And then you got Matt Campbell. Iowa State hasn't done anything. So we can look now and say, oh, that wasn't the right hire at the time, but look at your options and look at what they're doing right now and think to yourself, would they be doing better than Freeman right now? Because with Fickell and Matt Campbell, neither one have shown it.
Yeah, this is just, it's really unfortunate we have to even talk about this, though. It's really, really frustrating. So Hopefully you could show up, play good in front of your home crowd, whether you're wearing green or blue, and get this win, or things are going to be really ugly around here the rest of the year. So hang in there, buddy, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, man. You have a great day, John.
Yep. Take it easy, buddy. And I see people, listen, I had really bad interactions with that Louisville crowd. 412, I'm coming to you. Thanks for the donation. Andrew, I see you as well. Really bad interactions with the Louisville people last year. And somebody put in the chat, Louisville's 10 times the city raggedy South Bend is, or whatever. That has nothing to do with where the fan base is at. Notre Dame fans do not mostly live in South Bend. That's not the connection here. Most Notre Dame fans don't live in South Bend. It has nothing to do with that area. It has to do with how your fan base is. And most of the Notre Dame fans are not local to South Bend the way most Louisville fans are local to Louisville. Night and day, totally, totally different. But it was some backwoods hillbilly type stuff last year that I did not appreciate from the Louisville people. I'm talking white trash, backwoods hillbilly type behavior and conversing and everything else, and it rubbed me the wrong way. Now, they went in there and beat the crap out of us at their place, and I respect that. Has nothing to do with the fans or anything else. There's nothing I could take away. Oh, they went in there and hammered you like a drum. Those guys were ready to play that game, and Notre Dame was not. And we got exposed. And Notre Dame was out of gas and just had nothing left in the tank. And they were all worked up. And I give them a ton of credit for hammering us. But that fan base, it was backwoods, hillbilly, white trash interactions I was having with these people. So if you want to say South Bend isn't that nice, that's fine. I agree with you. Most Notre Dame fans are not from there. That's not an affront or an offense to Notre Dame people. We're not from there. Most people that love Notre Dame. So that has nothing to do with it. You just ended up with Notre Dame where it is because when the caravan was trying to head west, there was a snowstorm and they had to stop by a lake. That's how it ended up there. And I will say this, though. With the Notre Dame money and that network, they are starting to turn South Bend, like it's expanding from like where campus is into Eddy Street Commons now. And you're starting to get some of the housing and you're starting to get some of the businesses in like a classy little downtown area now. They're trying to change it. But I'm just being honest. Bad interactions with the Louisville people, and it was backwoods type stuff. But to their credit, they came in there, they were loud and proud, and they beat the hell out of us all night, and I tip my cap to them. Good. It was a good job. 412, we're talking to you. Thanks for the donation. Andrew, I got you coming up. What's going on, 412?
Hey, John, how you doing, man?
I'm okay. I'm feeling the pressure of the moment Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman's in, man. This is all on the line here. You're either going to be, getting into the bye, trending back up, playoff dreams still alive, or you're going to have 2 losses before October and the whole world's going to feel like it's on fire. There is no in between. Those are the outcomes this week.
Well, I don't know about you, man, but I feel 10 feet tall right now. This is it. This is the season, baby. On the line, at home, and you guys are crying. I listen Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday morning when I'm hungover. All I hear is the same thing. Wine and cheese and jelly. Oh, Riley can't pass. How much should we pay him? Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois. Season's on the line. You guys want to cry? I thought this was Notre Dame, baby.
So what are you?
Well,
now wait. What are you advocating for? To ignore that we're not doing things good enough and just act like it's all going to be fine because we wanted to? Like, I'm trying to figure out where you're coming from, man. There's a lot to worry about.
Louisville ain't that great.
Neither are we. Neither are we. Neither are we is the problem. That is the problem. Neither are we. Why aren't we better at football?
9 to 10 the last 2 weeks.
Why aren't we better at football?
We underperformed. I get it. But this defense is elite. If we can at least score 16, I feel comfortable. 16. But that's not going to happen because Georgia Tech, I don't know if you watched the game, Georgia Tech had some insane RPOs. They could throw the ball down the field. Last week, Notre Dame was testing the field, throwing it down the field. We can do it. It's possible. This is not as grim as you guys make it out to be. And trust me, it's been a rough go my whole life. But we got one shot left, one loss left for this season. Let's go in with a positive attitude.
I like this. I need this call. I need calls like this to balance this out.
I don't know what's wrong with him playing down against his opponents, but this is a top 25 matchup, and Marcus will have these guys ready. I don't know what else to say. I'm fired up. I'm not going to sleep until Saturday night.
Man, okay, so I want to know whether this position, I really appreciate it, though, the balance here. We have callers, like I like the balance and the yin and the yang and all this. I appreciate it very much. I want to know, is this what you want it to be, or is this what you really think we're going to get? Because those are two different things. Does that make sense? So that's what I'm asking you. Is this what your heart and brain want to see, or is this what you believe we're going to see?
I want to believe the offense will do anything to I think we'll keep the defense off the field, which will be a good balance because we're going to run the ball. We're going to run, and then that's going to open up the pass. But the key is to keep the defense fresh and off the field because Louisville can't run the ball. Like they're averaging 2 yards a carry or something. They're missing their starting running back. Their quarterback's a 7th-year senior who's injury prone. He's going to feel the pressure. I don't know about you, but I don't want to throw against his secondary, throw against Xavier Watson, Benjamin Morrison, and Christian Gray. Hell no. So if we can limit the time that the defense is on the field and control the game, I just expect Louisville trying to come from behind, throwing a prayer, and turnovers exactly just. They're going to.
I could see this path.
They're going to run this game.
Whoever
turns the ball over.
I could see this. I could see this path. Can you at least understand where the negativity is coming from segments of the fan base and why they're so frustrated?
I watch them every year and every day, so yes, I know where the negativity is coming from. But
it's just so damn frustrating, man. It's so frustrating. You just want.
But it's
man.
I had a buddy over. Last week we were watching football on Sunday, and I was talking about Notre Dame. He's like, dude, they barely beat Miami of Ohio. I'm like, they beat them by 25. Last time I checked, that's a blowout. But I get it. They didn't look good for the first half. They played flat. I don't know what the hell was. Riley's got the yips, but once he connected that deep ball, I think we unlocked something, and that's going to be a blessing for this game with the RPO. And
yeah,
I don't see it going poorly on Saturday.
It's going to be interesting. Hey, Card Guy, I do see a couple Louisville people in the chat. Card Guy, I want to know from your side, is there a lot of Louisville people making the trip? That's something that, I don't have a pulse. I don't have a pulse of the Louisville fan base at all, and they don't want me. That's fine by me and fine by them. But Card Guy, thanks for being. I want to know: is there a big contingent that you've heard of your people going down, making a weekend of it, or what? I'd love to hear that. Can I ask you this?
Like always, they're trying to ruin our fun, John. They'll come into our stadium and try to. It's their Super Bowl.
It's the old open for game day. They're coming to your city to ruin all your fun. I want to know.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
we got to stop that.
Let me ask you this. You're on the more positive end and the glass half full of this, so I want to ask you. What do you think is the reason Notre Dame has started slow and appeared to be disinterested in playing at a home game in front of their own fans 2 times in a row? What do you think is causing that? And I'm interested in hearing your answer because you're on the positive end of all this. So I want to see how a positive thinking guy answers the question. Why don't we start games ready to play good football? Why? Why? Tell me the answer.
Quarterback. We didn't have a spring camp with him. This is his preseason week 4. This is why it's taken so long. We finally got the deep ball 3 weeks in. That's crazy. And I mean, that shouldn't happen, but that's what it is. He hasn't played in a year.
What does that have to? But what does that have to? But what does that have to do with the defense not being that great early in these games and the special teams fumbling a punt?
We lost one game and we gave up 16 points. That's good. It's our offense that's not up to par.
Yeah, man, it's frustrating. It's so frustrating. I
know it's frustrating.
But dude,
I give them the benefit of the doubt.
I got to tell you though, man, I need your positivity. I need your positivity in this fan base to balance things out. Like I just need it, man. I'm glad you're here and I'm glad you're glass half full. I'm hoping better team, better week of preparation, better mentality. These guys are ready to play. I have not seen us zoned in the way we were against A&M, though. And it's really, really frustrating for me to feel like the most put together this team was the first game. And since then, we haven't gotten development upwards from there. That's a big problem I have is that's the most put together the team's felt to me. And we just haven't been able to replicate it. It's driving me nuts. Yar.
I'm going to need Marcus to put on a fucking helmet and run out the tunnel with this team because I need him fired up.
I'm telling you.
It drives me nuts. Sorry for cursing.
But it is kind of rough, man. Like, where was all that fire and energy for Northern Illinois? Freeman looked tired. Like, we know it's not A&M, but you could still be fired up to play in front of your home people. It doesn't have to be nothing. The whole thing is so frustrating, man. I'm so frustrated trying to figure this team out. Oh.
And sadly, we gotta wait until Saturday. So,
oh man,
we're gonna drive ourselves nuts. But the least I can do is be hopeful.
You know what, man? I need that positivity in this call show.
We gotta be in this together.
Yeah, I do. Josh, I'm just telling you, those were the experiences I had, and I don't care what you're going to say about it. That was my experience. The Louisville people I interacted with, it was backwoods, hillbilly, white trash behavior and things being said from their end that was really inappropriate. And no, I'm not going to retract it. No, I don't feel bad saying it. That was my interaction with all the Louisville people. It was backwoods, white trash interaction. They crossed a lot of lines that were inappropriate, and that's how I feel about it. Then I said, if you are listening, that has nothing to do with the team that was ready to play and beat the crap out of us. Those are separate things. Listen to what I'm telling you. Those were the interactions I had. I'm telling you the truth about it. But the team beat the crap out of us and deserved that win, and I was happy for them because they earned that football game. Those are totally different things. Don't equate. It has nothing to do with we lost, so now I'm mad at the Louisville people. It was the people I interacted with. That's all. Anything else, caller? Thanks for being positive.
Yeah, you're good, John. I'm trying to think. Last thing, I don't know, man. I'm just ready for Saturday, and I hope everybody can find a way to stay positive because we got a great defense. We flashed last week with the passing game. We put up 66 points or however many we did 2 weeks ago. Marcus is not going to come out to this game and we're not going to be flat. We saw what we were like when we were pissed off losing to Northern Illinois. I expect Notre Dame to be fired up and go Irish. Thanks for your show, John.
I love it. Hey, I appreciate the positivity. Give me a call back Friday for more positivity. And then if we win the game, give me a call in the post-game show to say how right you are. I'd love that call. Give me that call. Andrew, what's going on, buddy? Welcome to the show. I tried to pull you up earlier. I think you fell asleep or your phone wasn't ringing or something. I tried to pull you up earlier, Terrence. Sorry I missed you. What's going on, Andrew?
Hey, what's up, John? Hey, that was a good call. I sort of agree with a lot of that, what that last caller had to say. Yeah, the reason why I wanted to call in, talk about two things on Riley Leonard. Can we talk? Like, I wanted to call in and disagree with Pat.
Andrew, tell me the realities, man. Tell me the realities of where this situation's at.
Well, I wanted to call in and disagree with Pat, but in thinking about it, I get where people like Pat are coming from with Riley Leonard. But I think here's the reality about Leonard. When he misses a throw, he misses it really, really badly. And so that's implanted in people's minds. But when you look at his statistics, he's completing over 60% of his passes. And I think that he did have somewhat of a breakthrough last week where he's actually healthy and confident enough to throw the ball downfield because he gets no credit in the stat column for getting 3 pass interference calls. You know what I mean? But those are big plays moving the ball down the field. So I'm not going to paint a picture here to say that this guy's, the most efficient, awesome quarterback. When he misses a throw, it's really, really bad. But he does make throws. I don't think he's as bad as, say, Tyler Buckner was. Tyler Buckner couldn't even throw a 5-yard out. Do you remember that? I mean, he's not as bad as that. It just, when he misses, it's bad. So I think people have to keep that in context. And then this idea that he gets no credit. Oh, no. My other thing is people have to, for their own sanity, have to get over and Northern Illinois. Until we lose another game, like to just totally be reflecting on Northern Illinois is just totally unproductive. I think what's really hurting Leonard with Notre Dame fans the most is it's implanted in their brain, that interception he threw at the end of that football game. It was like, do you know who Bill Buckner is, John?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so it's like I'm a Red Sox fan. Bill Buckner was like an all-star, throughout his career. That particular season, 1986, he was really good for the Red Sox. He should have never been in that position. They usually took him out of the game late in the game and put in a different first baseman because they knew he had bad knees. For whatever reason, the manager left him in the game. Ground ball goes through his legs, and that's forever cemented in Red Sox fans' minds, which is totally unfair to Bill Buckner. That's the same thing for Riley Leonard. He's freaking injured. He injures his shoulder. Denbrock keeps him in the game and then asks him to throw like a 50-yard pass downfield. Do you think Denbrock calls that play if Texas A&M's the opponent? We're up 14-13 in the fourth quarter? Absolutely not. He's running the football. But he got so arrogant, so brazen, he called that pass play, and now we lose the game. So if you want to worry about NIU, put it on Denbrock, because either you should have taken Leonard out of the game because he was injured and put in someone else who could throw the football or run the ball. But to just only put it on Leonard, I think, is really, really short-sighted. Getting to Louisville, I totally disagree with people on Leonard, because this guy's a really good running quarterback. There's only one other quarterback in the country who's a better runner than Riley Leonard, and that's Jalen Milroe. And so a good offensive coordinator will have a lot dialed up for Louisville. I'm hoping that Denbrock has been keeping a lot of stuff in his pocket for big games like Louisville and USC.
Oh, that's an interesting angle there. That's another interesting angle there. It's something to think about.
I'm hopeful that's the case.
Yeah.
Because, go back, and what frustrates me about a lot of Notre Dame fans is they only watch Notre Dame games. They don't watch, like, any other college football teams.
Yeah.
Go back and watch what Michigan would do to Ohio State over the last three or 4 years. They would have trick plays dialed up for Ohio State, and they would bust them out just once a year. And I think this is the type of game. Like, I remember last year against Ohio State, Michigan had a halfback pass that went for like 80 yards. It was the longest pass play of the game. The J.J. McCarthy never threw the ball past 20 yards the entire game. So you've got to have some stuff dialed up for Louisville. This is make or break for Denbrock, in my opinion, because I think he is the culprit for the NIU loss. He's got to come back and dial up some really creative run game with both Leonard and Love. And Galen McCullough, you are the most overrated coach on this football team. For you to be rotating Ford and Aeneas Williams in this game, a pivotal game, would be totally ridiculous. I mean, are we really supposed to believe that Love and Jadarian Price are so bad at pass blocking they can never be on the field on 3rd and long? That is, you're taking your two best weapons off the field. You're a dope, and Denbrock should step in and do something about this. It's ridiculous. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, that's, man, some of that, you know what I'm thinking, man. When does the SEC step in and offer number 4 a huge bag and go, why don't you come play behind a real offensive line, and we'll give you double the carries every week if you want to make some of your life? I'm waiting for that to happen, Andrew. I'm just telling you. I'm just waiting. That's what I would do. He's an SEC type talent. Somebody's going to offer him a bag and go, we'll give you double the carries and run behind a monster old line where you have a bigger hole and you don't have to do everything alone.
I mean, yeah, and this idea, like a caller called in and basically was saying that Leonard is taking carries away from Love. Ridiculous. It's called a RPO, run pass option. You have to, like, and he's literally, Leonard is literally averaging 10 yards a carry when he keeps the ball. So that's not the problem. The problem is Denbrock isn't calling enough pass plays, number one. And number two, Love, who's probably your most explosive player on the field, is coming off the field on 3rd down. That's the dumbest thing I think I've ever heard in my life. So, Galen McCullough, you are so overrated. You rotate way too much. And then please explain to me how Notre Dame is basically offensive line U. We put offensive linemen in the NFL constantly, yet Jeremiah Love is like the only super highly rated running back that we ever signed. Like, and if you look at this signing class, it's like, you know, we could try to put lipstick on a pig, but these running backs were not going to get offered by SEC schools. How is Notre Dame not getting one of the, like, a top 5 running back in the country when you have an NFL offensive line every few years? It's ridiculous. He's lazy. He just took the first guy who took the commitment. He's totally overrated, in my opinion. Yeah, but last point is on Freeman. Freeman is screwed if he loses this game. And he's honestly screwed
if he wins this game. I thought you were going to say he's screwed even if he wins. He's screwed. And if he loses, he's double screwed. There's no way out. There's no way out.
That NIU loss put him in such a tough spot because if he loses to Louisville, or if he doesn't go on a 10-game winning streak, what is he going to do? I mean, like, I'm picturing, because like me and my buddy were talking about this yesterday, I'm picturing him at the end of the season sitting down with Pete Bavacqua, and Pete Bavacqua says, hey, tell me your vision for the future. Like, is Freeman really, he's got no good options, because on one side he'll say, we need a developmental year for CJ Carr. And then Bavacqua will say, why would I let you have a developmental year? Why didn't you develop a quarterback over the last 3 years? You're really going to try to develop a quarterback in year 4 after never making it to any notable bowl game? Like, I'm supposed to give you another developmental year? And then on the flip side, he's like, well, no, actually, you know what? We're going to go out and get another rental quarterback in the marketplace because we're going to try to compete and win. It's like, we've done that 2 years in a row, and you've come up short.
It's a bad spot to be. You're right in the middle.
He is screwed.
You're in the middle.
He is screwed if he doesn't. It's playoffs or bust for Freeman. So to all the Notre Dame fans, you guys in this chat would light me up for criticizing Freeman because I thought he was doing stuff the wrong way. Light me up. You guys were all Freeman sycophants, and now you've all turned against him. And I'll point out, you turned against him for the wrong reason. You should be turning against him because I don't think he's meddled enough in the offense. He should have told Dan Brock to run the damn ball. Dan Brock is calling a 50-50 run-pass game with a quarterback who cannot be a drop-back passer. It's mind-boggling to me. So I would say get behind Freeman because if he doesn't run 10 wins in a row, this is the beginning of the end. And I think next year, I think he probably makes it into next year, but it is his last year because he's got no good options. So
yeah, it is. I do totally see standing in the middle of no man's land with and either way you go, you're going to have a problem. I totally understand it. And the Northern loss is the one it couldn't be because that is what puts you back against the wall in this position in a really bad spot. Andrew, it's going to be interesting to see. Let's see if the team shows up Saturday, buddy.
Thing.
Yeah.
One last thing. This idea that this wide receivers coach is like, remember when they were telling us, he's not a good recruiter, so to speak, but he's really good in the room. Like he's going to teach these guys. Have you seen, hey, listen, I get it. Leonard has been inaccurate, but have you seen any improvement from the wide receiver group? All this new guy does is push the transfer guys. Like he's literally playing that Marshall kid who's the kick returner as many snaps as Greathouse, even though that kid at Marshall wasn't even a starting wide receiver for Marshall. He's pushing Mitchell now. They're saying, hey, we need to be considered to get Mitchell the ball. Obviously, Bo Collins. This is just ludicrous. I mean, if I was Greathouse, I came into college as 100% prepared for college football, and now you're splitting snaps with Marshall's backup wide receiver. It's this guy is a clown. I think they might have a mass exodus. KK Smith can't do or give you the kind of production that Mitchell's giving you right now. I mean, This is ludicrous. And then Cam Williams is literally a 5-star. And he can't go in there and not catch any balls like everybody else on the team is doing. Yeah. It's ludicrous. And they're screwed there because he can't recruit. They're begging. They're trying to get a Wildcat quarterback who Alabama really thinks is a safety to come to Notre Dame and play wide receiver. That's their biggest lead right now. That is pathetic. And Chad, the general manager, is just so overrated too. So you better win out, Freeman, because you have some crappy assistant coaches, overrated assistant coaches, and your recruiting coordinator, who you just gave a huge raise to, is not going anywhere, and he's not getting bringing in any reinforcement. So you better win, buddy.
Oh, boy. Well, on that bright note, we'll talk to you Friday. See you,
All right,
Andrew.
man.
Thanks
See
a
ya.
lot, buddy. Have a good one. Oh, man, that's dark. Terrence, finish us off for the day, buddy. 618, what's going on, man? Get it off your chest.
Man, John, you the only one that I allowed to complain about Freeman because I'm tired of these Notre Dame fans who keep blaming everything on Freeman. Let's say this, man. When Denbrock had the opportunity to call his plays, we was good. We was good. It showed we went off for 28 straight points with Denbrock calling his plays. We haven't seen none of that LSU offense because of Marcus Freeman is stuck in the Jim Tressel ways of running the ball. I complain about Leonard, but I see it now. Without Leonard, the running backs wouldn't be as good as they is because in the RPO game, they so worried about Leonard's legs. Man, let the man get the opportunity. We will beat Louisville, and we will beat them. We will beat them badly.
Ooh.
With Denbrock calling his plays, not Marcus Freeman stepping in the way and calling nothing but run. Man, you seen it, John, last week when Denbrock was calling the plays and Marcus Freeman stepped out of the way. We was okay.
So
The
are you?
only issue I ever had with Marcus Freeman is stepping in the way of the offensive coordinator.
So do you feel like
and doing
that?
what he wanted to do.
You feel like that passing game is starting to develop a little bit to where you feel like maybe you could get more of that going now against Louisville, and you have to open it up a little bit.
The touchdown pass to Bo Collins was the best pass by any Notre Dame quarterback all season long. Leonard could pass the ball down the field. The issue is Marcus Freeman stepping in the way and just running the football. You're not going to beat Louisville if he step in the way. Let Denbrock cook, and I guarantee we'll be okay.
Yeah.
And I guarantee we'll beat Louisville by 14. Louisville is not a good team. Stop thinking and looking at the rankings, fellas, and stop blaming Marcus Freeman. Marcus Freeman needs to step out of the way of the offense. Worry about the defense. Go, and the defense is okay. He's not stepping. You see, he's not stepping in the way of Golden. He's stepping in the way of Denbrock.
Are you confident Notre Dame's going to be prepared to play right away in this game and not take a quarter and a half to wake up? So you believe because it's a big game moment, they're going to be more engaged? Is that why?
Yeah, it's going to be closer to the Texas A&M game. It's going to be closer to the Texas A&M game than it is the NIU game.
Yeah, it's just this is a lot of it's a lot of stress, man. They got to win this ball game or this is all over for this year. It's a bad spot to be, man. We're in a bad spot.
John, the only reason I'm pulling my hair out and I ain't got much hair to pull out, the only reason I'm pulling my hair out is because when I see that they running the ball, short pass, run the ball, short pass, that looks just like Jim Tressel offense at Ohio State.
Yeah, it's man. So you really think Freeman was handcuffing that offense that much?
Yes, I think he was. I think now I look at it, man. Tommy Rees' offense was handcuffed by Marcus Freeman. The guy last year was handcuffed by Marcus Freeman. They couldn't do what they wanted to do. You brought in Denbrock because you could trust Denbrock, and then he handcuffed for the first 3 games. He handcuffed that off. For the first 3 games and a quarter, he handcuffed that offense.
Man, okay, so now you feel like you opened it up a little bit and you had a little more success through the air last week, took some shots. You know, you hit the good one to Collins there. You got a couple penalties. You're kind of stretching the field a little bit, forcing them to play a little to play, at least honor the whole field here. But you really think that I don't have the answer to that. You really think that Freeman was dictating to Denbrock that much? You really think Freeman was like telling Denbrock, don't try and throw it? Don't try and throw it?
Denbrock and Freeman won't say it, but I really think that Denbrock went to him after the first quarter and say, hey, dude, stay on my toes. Let me do what I do, man. You see that you see my offense at LSU last year was the number 1 scoring offense in the country. If you want to win, let me do what I got to do. You're not handcuffing Golden. You handcuffing me. because you want to run Jim Tressel. If you wanted to run Jim Tressel offense, why you didn't hire him as offensive coordinator?
Yeah, man, it's and I kind of thought the idea was that if you bring a guy like Denbrock in with all of his experience and everything, that's what Freeman needed, because that's not his area of expertise, and he could default to an older guy that has the experience and has been around the block, and then let him figure out what he wants to do. Wasn't that the idea? Wasn't that the concept?
Think about this. Besides Lou Holtz, who do Freeman talk to the most? Jim Tressel. If you go back and look at Jim Tressel's offense at Ohio State, that is the same offense that they was running. Besides, it would look like it was in the spread. It wasn't no man under the center. That was handcuffing Jim Brock. You cannot bring me in to run my offense I ran at LSU, and then you turn around and you want me to run Jim Tressel offense.
Whew,
Ohio State was never one of the highest scoring offenses when Jim Tressel was the head coach.
Yeah, the game's changed, man. It's been a long time. I'm not building too much of my model out on something that's aged that much necessarily. So I don't know, man. But you think the team's going to show up ready to play and be engaged, and you expect something good to happen this week, huh?
I think they beat Louisville.
Ooh.
They beat Louisville. Remember when I told you, man, they beat Texas A&M by at least 10 points, right? I didn't call the NIU week. I said, man, they at least beat them by 10 points.
Yeah.
They beat them by 10 points. They beat Louisville by 2 touchdowns. Louisville will not be able to move the ball on that defense unless they able to run the ball down their throat, and that's not going to happen. Notre Dame is one of the best run defenses in the country this year.
Man.
And they've proven it week after week.
See, there you go.
Can stop the run.
There you go.
They are not going to run the ball. Every team that beat Notre Dame over the last 2 years have ran the ball down Notre Dame's throat. Louisville is one of the worst run offenses in the country. That's not going to happen. You're not going to beat the two. You're not going to beat two of the best secondary in the country. You're not going to beat them passing the ball down the field. Stop it, fans. Stop saying it. I don't want to hear it no more. Louisville lose by 14.
There you go, man. If we could get that going, people feel a lot better headed into the bye. And I know I could use that for those 2 weeks to feel like you're still in the playoff hunt and you're trending up. Anything else, my friend? I got to hit the road here. I really appreciate the energy today from you and everybody else. A lot of energy today, man. Whoa.
I just wanted to like that caller called in, man. If you don't like Marcus Freeman because your favorite guy didn't get hired, please go and root for another school. I've been a Notre Dame fan since I was 5 years old, and ain't nothing gonna change.
Man, I love you. I love your energy. Never change, man. Give me a call back Friday if you want, okay?
All right, man.
Have a good one. I'm telling you, man, the energy on these calls, wow. We were all over the board on this one. I really actually appreciated the varied perspectives we got today. We got a little bit of everything. Usually there's like a common strand or a common thread. We pretty much had people all over the board today on Freeman, on where the team is overall, on the quarterback dynamic, on the offense, on the preparation going into these games, being ready to play right away or not. We've been all over the board, and I really appreciate it. That's what makes for a good call-in show, is to have all those varied perspectives, and then you guys debating in the chat. There's still a bunch of callers on a hold. I got to get going. I have other obligations. Did the White Sox lose tonight for the record? I hope so. To come this far and be this embarrassing and humiliate the fans like me this much, I need you to set that record to be the worst ever all time for the mark of embarrassment. So I hope the Sox get the record for the ultimate embarrassment. I'm humiliated by what they do, and they ruined the whole summer for me by what they did. And so, all right, you guys. We're going to have I got an interesting episode coming out tomorrow morning, a little something different for you. And then we're going to go live Friday, and then we're going to see what we're going to get. Is the Notre Dame season essentially over, or do they have life and playoff life heading into the bye, looking to the back stretch of that schedule? Tim, the White Sox hurt me so bad, man. There's only 2 teams that I am emotionally invested in it at all, and it is Notre Dame football and the White Sox. And what they have done to that loyal fan base is sickening. It really is. It's one thing to be awful. It's another thing to not care that you're awful. Those are two different things, being awful and not caring that you're awful. I can't grapple with that. They don't care that they're the worst team. And I don't know what to do with that, Tim. All right, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. Look for something tomorrow morning on the YouTube channel. Check out all the articles, Sports Illustrated. Everybody doing a good job. Thanks for Mason jumping on from that network. Appreciate that. And then we'll be back live Friday for Before the Game. Queue up your calls. Sorry to the people I wasn't able to get to. Busy week. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for the donations. Thanks for the chat. See ya.